Uh-oh, wait a minute. I fucked it up. There's no data. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It is loud. No. Yeah, it's loud, Dave. Look at that. Hell yeah. Dude, it's Oh, yeah. Welcome to Midnight Metal, episode number 15. I'm your host, your Viceroy Verisimilitude, Robert Meyer Burnett, and I am here wrapping up my birthday. It started last night on this show. It will end on this show, and I'm going to bring on my compatriot, my co-host, the director of The Hills Run Red, Mr. Dave Parker.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Dude, you feeling metal tonight?
Dude, I'm always feeling metal, but I'm especially metal tonight because I get to celebrate your birthday. I mean, technically it's not now, but but metal, it rolls all the way through to the end of the show, and I couldn't be more excited and happy.
That's right. And a lot of people, were surprised how long this show went. It went to 5 in the morning. I got to tell you, I was pretty hammered by the end of the night. I mean, even though I'm drinking whiskey with copious amounts, I mean, it's mostly Pellegrino. When you do it continuously for 5 hours, it catches up with you.
Guys, it's just iced tea. He's fooling you all.
In a metal way, Dave. I'm not fooling anyone. So I got to tell you, yes. I had a pretty good birthday. Elizabeth and I went to Brian Fuller's lovely house, and Brian gave me, he gifted me these 3 framed Drew Struzan paintings of Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, 1-sheet size paintings of each character that hung in the Star Trek Discovery offices. That's when crazy. He was running the show. He gave them to me, and then we skipped into Hollywood. I hadn't been in Hollywood in a year.
It was crazy. And there was a big fire over there, wasn't there, today? Somewhere around there?
Yeah, there was a brush fire. We got, it was
huge,
Topanga.
I was getting ash, walking around today.
It was a fucking metal brush fire, man. It was not cool. But, when we came out of them, so we went to the Hollywood and Highland Complex. Most of it's closed. They're remodeling it. But I had tickets to see Army of the Dead, the first movie I was going to see in a theater in 15 months.
Crazy.
I made a mistake. I thought it was Auditorium 1. I thought it was in the IMAX theater. It was not.
Right.
Don't I feel like a chump? That was decidedly unmetal, Dave. But I went and saw Army of the Dead with Elizabeth, and one of the only things that was open in there was California Pizza Kitchen. So we had a quick bite to eat, which was lovely. And then I went and saw Army of the Dead. First movie I'd been to see in a theater in 15 months.
Seemed like a pretty metal movie to start with, pretty awesome one to start with. But before you get into talking about the movie,
I'm not going to spoil anything, by the way.
No. But was it weird being back in the theater?
I got to tell you, Dave. I got to tell you, it was weird. And I have to say, even though I was at one of the auditoriums, I was in Auditorium 1 at the Chinese, upstairs at the Chinese.
Yep.
The sound was great. It was so great to hear thunderously loud sounds. And I have to say, the thing I loved the most about Army of the Dead was the gunfire.
Okay.
The sounds of gunshots. I don't know what they did, but they were different than I'd ever heard before. They were thunderous. They had a bass roar to them. And it was fucking metal, Dave. It was so metal. The gunfire.
Heavy metal.
It was heavy metal.
How was before you get into the movie, what was the score like?
It was, I didn't notice it really.
That's weird.
A
movie like this, you would think.
Yeah, It's funny. There were some great songs. Like how I love the opening of Dawn of the Dead, Snyder's Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
With the Johnny Cash song "When the Man Comes Around."
Yeah.
There's something similar in this film.
Okay.
But without ruining anything, I really did not like Army of the Dead at all. I mean,
a bummer, because certainly the trailer looks great.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of fun stuff in it, but ultimately, I've never felt this way in a movie before. I felt that I was watching a movie that was being made up as it rolled along. And it was being like, there were so many inconsistencies and things. I kept saying, like, wait, what? They just kept, as the movie rolled along, it was literally like they were just making stuff up as it was happening on screen. I'm like, wait, what? And I've never felt that way in a movie before. And as it rolled along, it really did. I have to say, while Snyder was his own DP on this too, he shot the movie himself.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
And I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan of how the movie was shot or edited, and that surprised me. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who love it. And I understand there's some interesting world building, kinda, sorta.
I'm looking forward to it because it finally looks like they're actually like, in a way similar to I Am Legend, where the zombies have actually like created a society, which I actually haven't seen done in a sophisticated, a quote unquote sophisticated form before.
It's not very sophisticated, unfortunately. I was really looking forward to that aspect of the film, and I was sorely disappointed about it. There are some people that are going to like it, but I love zombie movies, and I really do. And I think the best zombie movies are, whether it's my beloved original Dawn of the Dead, or Train to Busan, or The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue, or Zombie, or take your pick. I mean, there's so many different kinds of. Tombs of the Blind Dead, I really consider kind of
it's a zombie movie.
Yeah, it's a zombie movie. I really like Tombs of the Blind Dead.
Yep.
But this movie was, it needed. I mean, obviously he wrote the script with someone as well, but it really needed to be refined and honed into something. There was just so many inconsistencies in it from one moment to the next, and that was what I really felt like it was. I'd never felt like this before. But I felt like the movie was being made up as I watched it. Like it kind of knew what was happening, but then someone said, "Let's try this." Okay, let's try this. Okay, and as people said, it's 2.5 hours. It's a very long movie, and it's not like I don't know. I mean, it wasn't. I don't know. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer about this. That's decidedly unmetal, Dave.
That's true.
Yeah, it was just weird. It was weird.
Huh. I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think is it Netflix
I think next weekend? Next week.
So so I'm looking forward to checking it out. I think visually the fact that we're getting zombie tigers and shit like that, if nothing else, that'll add like a little bit of fun of stuff that I haven't seen before. I hope maybe not
as much fun as you'd hope.
Damn it.
I mean, it was just a weird. There was all these interesting ideas that were all sort of half baked or strange thing. It just was odd. But yeah, I mean, it was weird. I mean, I wanted to like it more than I did. And
so was it the characters that were the human story that just wasn't like engaging enough for you? Because that seems to be like, I mean, at least like Train to Busan and Dawn of the Dead, the original, and even the remake and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like you really identify with the human characters and their plight and what they're going through, and that's what sort of makes it all successful. I mean, that's why The Walking Dead is about the living people and not the zombies.
There's very little. I mean, I think if Zack Snyder could have cut out all the dialogue in this movie, he would have, because there's not a lot of great character interplay, and there were just things about it I didn't understand. As I'm an astute moviegoer, I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Sure,
there was a lot of that, and Tig Notaro's playing her Tig Notaro character that she plays on Discovery, that she plays everywhere, you know.
You mean so she's one note is what you're saying? She can do one thing.
Everybody
and one
was
thing
one.
only.
Everybody was one note, you know. And then they just would introduce characters, and then suddenly the character is like, well, there's this character, and they do this thing, and you're like, wait, what? Which adds a whole nother dimension to what's going on in this movie. Like, well, that's interesting, you know. And I just felt that the whole thing was a little, even the. I don't want to ruin anything, but look, here's the thing. Everybody's going to watch it. And I think a lot of people are going to have more fun with it than others. But I mean, I think that all of my problems were script problems. They're all part of the story. They were all inconsistencies and things that were just all over the place. And it's an interesting premise that I think was half baked.
Okay.
It needed a great screenwriter.
So now this lends me. This prompts me to ask you a question that I don't know. I mean, maybe you've been asked, but I don't know.
Ask away, Dave.
What dumb movie do you really love? That the script isn't good. There's no reason that you should even like it. It's like, but for some reason, you love it.
Tough Turf, maybe.
I mean,
I love Tough Turf.
It's a weird one, for sure. But is it necessarily like,
I don't tend to like. I think I like I look consistently. Like I will love movies. Another interesting, I consider it kind of a zombie movie, is Night of the Comet. You know, Night of the Comet though has a very direct, succinct story that I think really plays itself off well.
Sure.
You know, and as you know, you and I are both horror film connoisseurs, and I think that, and horror is one of my favorite genres. And there's, for the most part, I mean, my tolerance for horror in terms of what I'll watch is pretty broad. I'll watch.
I think it started out broad. I don't know. I think from talking to you, I would say that your genre stuff has definitely narrowed in what you're watching now that's coming out.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's true because like that's actually good. Like, when I was a kid, I would watch any exploitation movie I could get my hands on. If it had some kind of, whether it was Blood-Sucking Freaks, whether it was I Spit on Your Grave, whether it was Thriller or Cruel Picture, which at the time I was only seeing They Call Her One Eye, Last House on the Left, Mother's Day. By the way, I did a stream today with Lloyd Kaufman and Joe Bob Briggs.
Nice.
It was amazing.
I bet.
And it was fun. But I now I find that my tolerance for exploitation films it's not that my tolerance hasn't changed, but there's just, I don't get any value out of it anymore. Like, when I was watching I Spit on Your Grave, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so not supposed to be watching this. I mean, it was the hardcore rape revenge movies, the hardcore horror with I love lots of gore and violence, but as you know, I like serious horror movies. That's why I love Cronenberg, and the things.
But you like Night of the Comet, and that's definitely not serious.
Yes, I like Night of the Comet, and I love like From Beyond and Re-Animator.
Fright Night.
Night, I love all that stuff. But those movies, I think that Fright Night or Re-Animator is actually about something. I mean, it has a really cool undercurrent to it, and it is transgressive and subversive. Mm-hmm. A scene with come on, Barbara Crampton naked on a table with what's his name, Hill, the actor,
Dr. Hill, David Gale.
David Gale holding his own head, going down on her. I mean, that is some transgressive horror shit that I love. I mean, Barbara Crampton, beautiful naked woman, and then you have a headless zombie.
I
love that shit.
I just wish I had been a fly on the wall on that set. Because they all know that if they can get that scene in the movie, that no one's going to forget this movie.
Right.
It's just going to be like, there's just no way anyone, it's so audacious, in a way that, it's just like, but the thing is, I get it too. It's like, fuck, why not? It's like, it's an unrated movie. It's coming out and it's so ridiculous. How could the MPAA really object to it because the tone is so goofy and everything else. I mean, it's horrifying, but it's not like, oh, someone can emulate that. So
no, and it's very funny, like,
and that's what's great about it.
It is what's great about it, but also like Jeffrey Combs' performance, you can't take your eyes off him. You know, he's and the acting I like the acting in that movie, and it's gonzo in its horror. And, you know, bringing back a dead cat. You know, and
and the bloodletting and the blood and everything else. It was all really. It really went out there. It was really very different and subversive, obviously, which is why it's lasted so long.
Yeah, and it's, you know, at the end, overdose or whatever, and you know, the zombies, the cadavers getting up on the bed, getting up on their tables at the end, and the spewing the guts. I mean, it's you watch it now, and it's really interesting because tonally, it really walks a tightrope. Yeah. It could have fallen into silliness and not worked at all. But
and it was silly. That's the thing. It was silly. It was at times. Silly. It was like, you know, cat dead, more info later type thing. You know,
right?
It's like, you know, I mean, some of it's very silly. I mean, and slapstick silly when Dr. Hill's body is like fumbling around his office and he's rolling his eyes and everything. It's like, no, but again, you're right. Just going a little too far and it would have collapsed under itself. It's also why I'm glad that Stuart never directed a sequel himself.
Right.
There's something like, so he would never have to top himself with those characters, you know, in that world. He could go do it with From Beyond. He could go do something completely different and everything. And that's what was very cool. Part of me is like, and I kind of like Bride of Re-Animator, but part of me is like, I don't know, maybe they should have just left it at one.
I think so too.
Especially with the way it ended. It was just...
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, what I was going to say, and the thing about Stuart Gordon that I really loved is, you know, I loved his next two movies, both of them. I loved From Beyond and I loved Dolls.
I love Dolls. And I think Dolls is super underrated.
It's funny, the first time I actually met Stuart, unfortunately he's no longer with us, but I met him at the Seattle Film Festival seeing Dolls. And I saw it at SIFF, and he was there at the screening. And I really enjoyed Dolls, you know, and I'm like, here's a guy, he obviously came out of the Chicago theater, the experimental theater, and
the organic theater. He helped create.
He helped found it. And there was something about the theatricality, like his movies were very theatric. It had a lot of theatricality in them, and especially in the acting. And I think that was, in a way, it was sort of a Stuart Gordon staple. No one else really had what he had. And when you see Jeffrey Combs' performance of Herbert West in Re-Animator, it's pretty broad, but yet perfect.
Yeah.
You know, and it works. And like, one of my favorite scenes in any horror movie is that scene when David Gale's head is going down on Barbara Crampton, and when Jeffrey Combs walks in.
Right,
you know,
right.
Here you are,
yeah.
Steal the secret of life and death, and here you are, trysting with a bubble-headed co-ed.
Yeah.
You're not even a second-rate scientist. You know, get a job in a sideshow. Like, it's such a great scene. I mean, it's funny, hilarious, creepy, weird, transgressive, all at the same time. But his performance makes that movie.
I sure hadn't seen anything like that movie when I saw it in '85 when it came out on VHS. And the thing is, the other thing is, I also think, especially with those early Stuart ones, the collaboration with him, Dennis Paoli, and Mac Ahlberg being his DP.
Yep.
They did those 3 films. Well, no, Paoli didn't write Dolls, but Mac shot all 3 of those. Mac shot many of his films. Boy, that was someone that I would have liked to have worked with. He shot so many great things. But yeah, I think that was another thing. It was just sort of that threefer, and Dolls was sort of an afterthought. It was like, well, yeah, you're going to shoot From Beyond, but we've got these sets, so shoot this one first.
Yeah,
it's like, wow.
I mean, those are the days, man. I have to tell you, I mean, I haven't been as excited to see a movie as I am a horror film as I am to see Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future.
I mean, we have a little ways away to wait on that one, but
I just love that he's making it because I love that script. You know, I mean, I was really looking forward to Possessor, and I think Possessor is pretty good, but it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. You know, it was. But again, I mean, transgressive. I liked Antiviral, you know. And but
It's definitely different.
it's different. I liked it. It was weird, but I feel that Brandon Cronenberg is he's trying to emulate his father,
Which is only going to go so far. And the problem is, the problem with antiviral, and I guess Possessor to an extent is, and even early Cronenberg movies too, his dad's, they're emotionally cold movies. He didn't really find his warmth until The Fly.
But I'm a huge fan of early Cronenberg.
No, and I love this stuff too, but emotionally, it's cold.
Yeah, no, it is.
And I should say, The Dead Zone was the first time that he found warmth.
Yeah,
in one of his movies.
Although I have to say, The Brood is still one of my favorite horror films of all time, and I think it's just a devastating movie. It has great body horror in it. It has a great concept, the idea of psychoplasmics and how your inner problems, your inner turmoil, your shape of rage can literally be manifest. That idea, to me, seeing those early Cronenberg films, They Came From Within or Shivers, Rabbit, and The Brood, and then you get to the Scanners and Videodrome, which are more sci-fi. But those three movies, the first I think of it as the body horror trilogy, and to me, The Brood is a masterpiece. I love They Came From Within. I think The Rabbit is the lesser of the three, but still really interesting. Like he makes you believe, like, yeah, well, this woman gets in a motorcycle accident, she has plastic surgery, so as a result of that, she now has a weird stinger that comes out of her armpit where she has to drink men's or other people's blood. And then they get. I mean, these concepts were so audacious, but because he played them cold and he played them so straight, you believe them. Like, and it's like they're outlandish, but you believe them. And They Came From Within was the first movie I saw of Cronenberg's. I saw it in a drive-in on a second bill with Motel Hell. And then after I'd seen that, I was like, oh my God. And then soon after, when Scanners was about to open in Seattle at the Coliseum Theater where it was opening, they were having a David Cronenberg festival, and they played They Came From Within, Rabbit, and The Brood, and then they played Scanners. And that was the first time I'd seen those other two movies. And, I've told this story before, but I took like 5 friends down, and we're all like, what were we, 13, 14, something, and they're like, we're never gonna get in. I'm like, no, and I just walked down the aisle and looked at the people in line. I'm like, that guy, he'll do it. And I walked up to him. I was like, hey man, can you get me and my friends into the movie? and they did. And it was funny because my friends were traumatized.
People would never do that today. They'd be like, holy shit, you can't go up and talk to some stranger and get him in the theater. God knows what he's going to do to you.
Well, that was like back in the day. I did that a lot. As a movie fan, you
didn't think about it then.
No, and by the way, never was a problem. The thing is, when you go to a movie and you're there seeing 4 David Cronenberg movies, there's solidarity there. I bet anybody I went up to in that line, I just picked the guy that I thought looked like the person that would be most amenable to me going like, hey man, this kid coming up, can you get me and my friends in this movie? It's like, can you buy us a sixer?
Yeah, God knows if we went back in time now and looked at that guy, we probably would have been like, oh God, no, what are you doing? No, don't talk to that guy. He's going to bring you into his van afterwards. For Christ's sake.
Know, dude. I know. But what's so weird is the statistics don't support that.
No.
There's less crime and all that than there has been. And it's so weird. Like when I was 10 years old, my friend Jeff Swafford, who was also 10, loved the public transportation system. And in Seattle, we have a really good bus system. Right. And every 3 months, they put out these pamphlet schedules. And he would plot these bus trips that we started. We started doing these when we were 10. We'd go and you could get a pass for 50 cents and ride the bus all day. And Jeff would plot these long, elaborate trips. We'd go to the airport, or we'd go to the Ballard Locks. We'd go all through downtown Seattle and go see everything. And we're 2 10-year-old kids, and we'd sometimes bring our friends. And we would go all over the city. And my parents are like, cool, come back by dinner.
Exactly.
We'd leave at 7 a.m. And we never were bothered or hassled. And it was, I think it makes you self-sufficient. I mean, you're roaming around Seattle, and which is pretty amazing.
Totally. Yeah, no, Seattle's a great city. Thanks to you. I got to see it and stay there for a while. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, we had a really good time when we took Hills Run Red up there. That was
Yeah,
a
that
really,
was cool.
I mean, for me, so for those of you who don't know, I mean, I grew up in Seattle, and I wanted to make a movie and take it to the Seattle Film Festival my whole life, and I saw so many great midnight movies and so many great transgressive horror films and everything. So it was a huge triumph for us to take the Hills Run Red there. A lot of people that I went to high school with rolled out for that screening. It was a pretty raucous screening. It was really a lot of fun and a lot of people there, and it was a midnight movie.
Yeah, it was wild. It was wild seeing a line lined up outside around the block, which was like, wow, okay. I mean, I was nervous as shit anyway. It didn't matter.
Right.
So it was like, because I'm not comfortable watching my stuff with people. It's just one of those things. A lot of filmmakers are like that.
And it was the world premiere.
Yeah, and it's nerve-wracking because it doesn't matter if they don't laugh, if they don't react at something, or they do, you're always questioning. So I need to get better at it. For me, it's always very difficult to enjoy seeing the movie with an audience. I think the older I get, I'll be more okay because I'll probably just especially with some of the movies I made, which are questionable at best. Some, the first one is really cheesy, we want to talk about Dr. Hill's eye rolling. If he saw my first movie, he would really roll his eyes. But that's the thing. So I would probably have more fun just like poking fun at it and going, well, clearly I didn't know what the fuck I was doing then. Hopefully I'm getting a little better now, but as we all do. But yeah, it was. I remember that being a really cool screening.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a lot of fun, and that's why I think back. Like we've never had like great breakthrough success, but we've done a lot of. I mean, to me, I'm like, I wanted to make a movie. One of my life goals was because I grew up going to the Seattle Film Festival. I'm like, I wish I could, make a movie and bring it to this festival. And I remember talking to Warner Brothers because we had to get a HD Cam SR to show, and that's expensive, and I had to call up Warner Brothers and I don't know who I talked to, if it was Matt Berman or Diane Nelson, and I was like, look, I'd really like to try and submit this movie to film festivals,
and they're like,
and they're looking at me like we're out of our minds, like they're like, really? I go, well, Dave and I know some people, and there's a couple of festivals.
Yeah, they never submitted any of the shit for film festivals.
No, it was direct to video. They're like, well, why would you do that? I said, well, there's a lot of genre festivals. I mean, you got to go to London.
Yep, and Spain.
We got to Spain. Which was, again, we got to take Hills Run Red to Sitges, which is the greatest film festival in the world.
That was great, and we were there for a whole week, so that was really nice.
It was.
We didn't see hardly any movies. We really just sort of like wandered around and enjoyed ourselves, which was awesome.
Yeah, talked to filmmakers, party.
And our first hotel was better than the one that they set us up with later.
Yeah,
it was like, damn.
Oh, that was the one my mom found us.
That's right.
The art hotel.
Really, literally, the beach and the sea was right across the street.
Man,
not that the other hotel was like 2 miles away. It was around the corner, but still, it was like, oh, can't we just stay here?
Yeah, no, it was.
But they were paying for it, so. But
yeah, it was. I wish I could make a movie a year just to go to Sitges.
Yeah, I believe me, it wasn't in my plan not to, and then
right.
And then it's like 11 years later, and I still haven't gone to another.
Well,
I mean, Tales of Halloween played festivals, but I never got to go to any festivals with it. They took everyone else hogged up all the passes and vouchers to go, and it was like,
yeah,
well, shit, because it played Sitges, it played Fright Fest, it played a lot of. I never got to go to any of them.
You know what we got to do? You know what I found? I have so much shit on my computers that I mean, I literally right now I have 100 terabytes connected to this computer that I'm looking at you at right now.
Wow.
100 terabytes and like Tango Shalom and all the movie stuff that I've worked on over the last, Paradox and I Know Where Lizzie Is, and like all this stuff, because I never throw anything away. But I found, the behind the scenes footage I shot on for Sweet Tooth, your segment of Tales from Halloween.
Yes.
Or Tales of Halloween. Yeah. And I want to cut it together. We should debut it on this show.
Absolutely.
Like maybe
even like in like little chunks or something, depending on how long it is. No,
it's not. I would think it'd be about like a 10-minute piece, but it's pretty cool. Like, I mean,
the funny thing is, it shouldn't be any longer than the actual short.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it was only for 2 days, but still, I mean, you get to see you directing, and we get to see the monster, Sweet Tooth, putting on that. It's fun. It's
no, we definitely should.
It's good.
Definitely should. Geez, Rob, you should just do a movie called Terror Bites. See, guys, this is why I don't.
When you run out of storage space, you're dead.
See, this is why I don't work more, guys, because I come up with things like Terror Bites, the movie.
Come on, man, Terror Bites is pretty good.
I could like it. Back in the day, I could have sold that to Charlie Man.
Yeah, you could. Well, you still can. That's a beauty.
I probably could, but
you could sell Terror Bites to Charlie Man. Dude, I still want to make Arcade 2 Electric Nightmare.
You better just buy the title from him and do it, because unless you want to make it for like $20,000.
Well, I got to tell you, so I did a panel today for the Mid-May Massacre Convention, and I watched the panel today was on a documentary called VHS Massacre 2.
Okay,
that was a sequel to VHS Massacre, and it was a really, it was really interesting. It had people like Joe Bob Briggs and Lloyd Kaufman was one of the producers, but it was a documentary about
collecting
the demise.
VHS?
The demise of the video store and the demise of exploitation cinema, and how difficult it is if you're a filmmaker today to get your movie seen, and how platforms like Amazon and Netflix are not exploitation or low budget horror or genre friendly.
No,
and how it's becoming a free speech issue. That these films, these transgressive independent horror, the things that we grew up watching,
right,
is by getting rid of them, and the big tech companies are essentially, by deplatforming these kinds of movies, we're losing that whole thing. And when we were kids, I remember getting a VCR. It was like, ooh, I'm gonna get the most hardcore fucking films I can, the most metal films I can get. I'm gonna watch them, Dave, and no one can stop me. And my parents would be so pissed if I saw these movies, and now that's kind of gone away. Like, and it was really interesting seeing this documentary and hearing it put that way. Like, it's a speech issue that. Yeah, and Elizabeth said something to me, my girlfriend, for those of you who don't know, Elizabeth, who for the ACE, the Arbiter of Cinematic Excellence, she said something to me that I have not stopped thinking about. She goes, movies today are so pasteurized. And I'm like, I love that. They're pasteurized. They're all... they're treated, they're run through it. Yeah, and it's we're still getting things like, whether it's Hereditary or The Invitation or Midsummer, I wasn't a big fan of, but Possessor has a lot of great transgressive violence in it, but it barely
got out there. I mean, as far as like wide exposure. I mean, you can look Possessor. You can watch the I don't know if the uncut version is on Hulu or just the R-rated version, but. I'm not sure. I bought the unrated on Vudu. The place that seems the place that is that great mom and pop video store now is Tubi TV.
Mm-hmm.
The sheer amount of titles that they have, and that's really like the home. Sometimes Shudder for certain things, but I think
Shudder's been showing some great stuff.
Yeah, they have, but they're also a little snobby in their selection unless Joe Bob Briggs brings it on. Yeah. Unless it's something like retro from the 80s or something like that. They're a little bit they want to be a little more high class in their they want to be the Criterion Channel for horror is what they really want to be.
But I'm for that. I'm there for that.
But that's the thing with horror, and you don't have that many channels that are really good one hub stops. And you need a good balance. You need a good mixture. The Arrow streaming channel has that mixture of stuff.
Yes.
That's cool. That I enjoy quite a bit.
Well, I mean, Arrow's my favorite. I think my favorite video label now.
But yeah, like today I was watching Versus on the Arrow channel, and they have the making of. They have almost everything that's on the disc on the channel, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, Arrow's very highbrow in terms of the way they approach even their low rent genre stuff.
But again, they're doing things like they're doing Elvira, Mistress of the Dark as a special edition. So it's not like all their titles are highbrow. They're just treating everything with
that's what I mean
with love and care, which is awesome.
Yeah, no, and it's I think it's great, and you know, I'm just wondering, like I was thinking one of the things, you know, the movie The Barn. Have you seen this movie The Barn?
With the vampire, the three horror characters. No, The Shed. You're talking about
the Shed. Oh, well, there's
Shed. Mike Mendez cut The Shed.
Yeah. It's, you know what, that I'm thinking of a different movie. I was thinking of The Shed, but Lloyd Kaufman was talking about a movie called The Barn. Maybe he was talking about The Shed, but The Barn. What he said was the filmmaker who made it said, "Look, I'm not going to give this to streaming. The only way you can see this movie is if you buy it on physical media." Or you see it in theaters when I bring it to theaters. And the filmmaker, I don't know who it was, but Kaufman was talking about this, that he made a lot of money. You know, he made a lot of money doing this. And, you know, now having Tango Shalom, which is very much an independent film. You know, we're playing at film festivals all over the place. And it just got into the Buenos Aires International Film Festival, which is pretty cool. I'd love
Congratulations.
I'd love to go down there and see it. And it's going to be here. It's actually going to be here in L.A. at the L.A. Independent Film Festival in October, or at the end of the, so that's going to be kind of fun, you know, and just being able to play it here and go see people and show up at the screening, maybe do a Q&A or something.
But I do remember, I think I know if it's the movie that Lloyd is talking about, The Barn, it's with like three horror characters, it's set on Halloween and everything else. And what they did, because I remember it's streaming now, you can find it on Amazon Prime and stuff like that. But for like the first year, it was direct sales. They even made their own board game. And that type of thing. They did some really clever like marketing stuff themselves.
Yep.
And it was for that first, at least I think that first year, or maybe 6 months or more, you could only get it that way.
And he did smart. Well. Lloyd was saying, and I think that's what independent filmmakers do. By the way, Cardinal Sin sends in a super chat. Happy metal frickin' birthday, Rob. Yeah. Woohoo. Thank you, Cardinal. Efren Guzman is here. By the way, he did some great art he sent me that I'm going to incorporate into observations. Nice. Want to wish the icon of YouTube, the notorious RMB, a happy birthday. And for a midnight question, what's Rob's favorite sexual position? Well, I have two.
Donkey style.
My first is anytime I can be between a woman's legs. Yodeling in the valley, eating at the Y, so to speak. I enjoy that, but that's not really a position. But I just enjoy it. I've always loved that. I love everything about it aesthetically, you know. And I read up. I had to learn to become a cunning linguist. But I would probably say, you know, doggy style, because I'm an ass man. I like a woman's ass. That's probably my favorite. What about you, Dave? What are your favorite sexual positions?
Reverse cowgirl.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that one too. You know what though? I'll tell you something. You know, while I prefer, I mean, reverse cowgirl's good.
I mean, that's basically like doing.
It's like doggy style, but it feels distant. Reverse cowgirl, I like it. I like the view too, but I feel like you're too far away, honey.
No. They lean back.
Oh well, okay.
So no, yeah.
All right, it's okay. Yeah, I can see that. Well, there you go.
And then, of course, because it's metal, 69, bro.
69, bro. But you know what? 69 is it's good when you think about it. It's fun to do for a while, but it's just hard to get where you're going. You know what I mean? It's like an interim position. It's an on ramp. 69 is an on ramp.
Yeah, you don't spend a lot of time.
You're going from
69.
Yeah, you don't spend a lot of time in 69 because it's like a freeway interchange. You're going from one. You're going from one place to another. You know, and 69 is a good way to get there. So there you go, Mr. Guzman. By the way, we did a great podcast. You should check that out with him. It's, if I do say so myself. Andrew Christie says, totally with you, Rob. Oh, Andrew Christie's also commenting on Army of the Dead. Totally with you, Rob. The weird shifts between ham-fisted drama and forced comedy. Tonally, it had no center. Snyder really needs a good screenwriter like Terrio to focus him. When Snyder is on, he's really on. When he's off, it's frustrating to watch. I felt that, like, he shot this movie himself. He was his own DP. He co-wrote it. He directed it. And I really feel like it was just lost. It had all these interesting ideas that really kind of went nowhere. But then the actual plotting of what they wanted to do, I felt like, you put this team together and you're thinking, oh, it's going to be like Ocean's 11. Like, these guys should be this crack team. And I felt like it was so haphazard. And there were so many weird things that happened. And I'm like, wait, what? Right. What's going on here? It was strange. Louis Terrazas says, damn, last night was super metal. Go for more than 5 hours tonight. I really need it. I can't go more than, we got to do 3 tops. I have no one night. Oh, wow. Louis says, I have no one right now, man. I lost my girlfriend and friends because of COVID. Louis.
Dude, you have us.
You have us, man. We are fucking metal. We're there for you, Louis. We are there for you. Fuck yeah. Know that you and your friends are here at Midnight fucking Metal. And you know what? It was
the R&Bs, the Righteous Metal Brotherhood.
The Righteous Metal Brothers. Oh my God. Oh my God. The R&Bs, the Righteous Metal Brothers. And by the way, Andre.
No, Brotherhood.
Andre, who runs Midnight's Edge, is hopefully going to join us. I sent him a link. He was trying to get on last night. I hope he'll. Andre is one of the great. Like he was one of the he is the founder. He's the impresario of Midnight's Edge. I really like him. He's in Norway. We had Terrier from Norway here last night. We had people from all over the world last night.
Dude, I remember Terrier. He sent us a bunch of questions the week before.
Yeah, Terrier is great. Terrier and his then girlfriend, wife, Julie, they came down to London when I went to see Skyfall in London.
So they are crazy.
They're great. They're great. Cardinal Sin says, he sends another super chat and he says, Dave, R&B for my money, Dagon. What say you? Another great Stuart Gordon film that my ex-wife designed the key art for. Some of
yes, that's right.
So what do you think of Dagon?
I like it. I like Dagon quite a bit.
I do too.
It's so weird. And the fact that for like 90% of the movie it's raining and stuff, he was so ambitious of what he was doing with the small movie. I just thought I thought it was really cool. Again, transgressive. That was Stuart. Stuart was a fucking badass, and everything that he did.
Yeah, he really. And I wonder, like, what's really interesting to me is like, for instance, there's some really great horror films being made now. Like, sure. I've seen a lot of great stuff, and I like highbrow. Like, I love The Invitation. From a production standpoint, a movie shot in a house.
Oh, it's a great movie.
Karen Kusama, The Invitation, and have you seen Destroyer? The movie she made with that was incredible.
Yeah, she's the real deal.
She's the fucking real deal. Like, but that's not a horror film. It's a cop thriller. But my God, like Nicole Kidman. Like, I've loved her since Dead Calm, maybe BMX Bandits or whatever, but since Dead Calm
especially, which is a severely underrated movie too.
Yeah,
but should check out Dead Calm.
When you see her like on interview shows, and she's like, she seems nice, but yet her ability, some of her performances, like when I fucking saw Destroyer, I'm like, oh my God.
Well, what about the huge change when she did To Die For?
I know.
She had done nothing like that before. That would make you think she would even be remotely good at comedy.
No, I'm a huge fan of hers.
Yeah.
I love, not just because she's a beautiful redhead, it's part of it, sure. But I that performance when she was in fucking Destroyer, I was like, oh my God. I mean, talk about raw, talk about an actress that's fearless, like doesn't care what she looked like. And I wouldn't have thought that about her. I mean, she lets herself get fucked up in that movie, and I was like, "Wow, good on you, girl."
Yeah,
but even though that we're getting a lot of these great horror films, I do feel that it's all a little safe. Like,
well, it is because it's packaged. Everything now is so. Well, with the exception of the micro budget films that are coming out that don't star anyone, but again, everything is so slick now. Technology has gotten to the point where you can make a very slick looking movie for no money.
right.
So you aren't going to get the rawness of an I Spit on Your Grave now, or rarely, unless you're trying to really emulate that type of thing. But it's rare. So yeah, everything. Well, I think there's a lot of good stuff, but you're right. But maybe it's that it does feel it feels safer. But I think maybe that also comes with age, and that the fact that we've seen so much that when we were initially watching this stuff, it felt dangerous. It felt subversive because we had never seen any of this.
Yeah, but you know what? It still is. I mean, you look at stuff now. I feel like we live in a culture that's too nice when it comes to our exploitation.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but the thing is, but then you get these people, and I know you defend this movie, and I just can't. And then you get people who make a Serbian film, and look, you know what? That fucker's in jail now.
Yeah, well, I don't.
Good for him, because he's a piece of shit.
I don't defend a Serbian film. I think a Serbian film is
no, but you praise it, and I can't even do that.
Well, listen. I don't look. It's well made. I don't praise it. I think that I read an interview with him where he said that he was trying to convey metaphorically what happened to during the Balkans conflict and all that.
During the Serbian thing and everything, but that's all bullshit because the thing is this, oh, and Cardinal Sin, I see you. We'll get to that question that you asked in a second. But at first he was like, no, I just want to make the most fucked up movie ever. And then there was so much backlash and protest. Then he decided like, oh no, it's a political reflection of the way Serbia is today. It's like, fuck you, dude. You wanted to make a sick fucking movie from your sick fucking deranged mind, and you're in jail now. Good for you. Fuck off. You're not metal. You're an asshole.
Yeah, I mean, that movie is how
do I really feel? No.
But that movie is ridiculous. It's ridiculous because it feels as gross as it is. And a Serbian film is truly fucked up. But it's almost like if you sat down with your buddies and thought about the most fucked up shit, like you're drunk in a bar. What's the most fucked up? And you just decided to put all that shit in a movie.
It's like going to a geek show or something like that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the equivalent of. Whereas something like it's funny because you brought up "I Spit on Your Grave" earlier, and so they recently Ronin Flicks put out this I Spit on Your Grave box set.
I know I was going to buy it, but then I'm like, you know what? They did a great, I have a great box set for Dieter that they put out of Haunted. Is it Haunted? It's great. Ronin Flicks is great. And they were up for a rondo for that, for the I Spit on Your Grave set.
So a friend of mine got it sent to him because they are talking to him about releasing one of his movies. So none of us had any desire. Look, I've seen I Spit in Your Grave once, maybe twice. I have no desire to see it again. I get what it is. But what's on as its own separate disc is Miyazarki's son's documentary about the making of I Spit in Your Grave and growing up with it, which we did watch, which was really interesting because, you always, Miyazaki is always like going, oh, well, I did it. It's a feminist, it's a woman empowerment movie and everything else. And, I would hear that shit and go, fuck you. You were just making a goddamn exploitation movie. Well, the real story is like, okay, he turned me around. The inspiration of the story was he was driving with his daughter and a friend, and this woman, this naked, bloodied, beaten woman came out of the forest onto a golf course where they were playing golf.
As women do.
And she had been brutally raped.
Oh, man.
And that was, and then they took her, they brought her to the police and everything. And he saw how the police treated her back then. And he got really angry and he decided to craft this script. The story is really fascinating. The documentary itself, I don't know if you have to buy the box set, that's up to you. It's a fascinating story, though. It really is. And it's like my I actually got a little respect for Miyazaki. It was like, oh wow, okay,
good.
You know, that was really interesting. So I do recommend that.
Zach Losel says, Rob, Yamu Detzavich, many, 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 many more. Just lost the love of my life. So I'll be drinking with you, Dave, and the rest of the PGS. L'chaim. Well, l'chaim to you. I am very sorry that you lost the love of your life. That's terrible. If I might counter, I found out my father's sister, my Aunt Barbara, and my Uncle Herman. My Uncle Herman is going to be 100 years old in August. And my 94-year-old aunt, they both got COVID. And Herman, who's going to be 100, survived. But my Aunt Barbara was this close to death. And she also, her brain was completely affected. Like, she didn't know who she was. Like, she was, they thought she had. Then one day, snapped out of it. No more COVID. And we're having a 100th birthday party for my Uncle Herman in August.
That's amazing.
And so when I heard that, I was talking to my brother. I have a half brother that's older than me. And
you never mentioned a half brother.
Yeah, well, so my dad, but I was adopted. Right. My dad was married before he married my mom, and he had 2 kids. So I have Lori and Jim. And Jim he's 71. My half brother is 71.
Wow.
And my sister,
I mean, that's only like 2 years older than you.
Come on, man. That's not nice. Come on. It's bad enough.
Hey, if you were 71, you'd make 71 look pretty fucking good right now.
Well, yeah. But my brother, my dad was a pretty youthful guy. I mean, he passed away when he was 83, but because he got sick. But up until then, he was very. I guess I took after him. I mean, my dad. Everyone loved my dad. He was hilarious.
Except you have more hair than your dad.
Yeah, my dad. Yeah. Thank God. I mean, it's which is funny. People. I'm old, but I've never thought about my hair. Like I've never. More and more people are telling me like, oh, at least you have your hair and all this. And I'm
no, you're not Ford Fairlane. My hair.
Yeah, no, I don't think about it. But there's all these people like, God, I wish I had your hair. I'm like, huh. And I guess because I'm not going bald or anything, so I've never thought about my hair.
Right.
And now I guess I should not take it for granted.
Nope. But I'm telling you. And speaking of metal, The Adventures of Ford Fairlane.
Dude,
very metal movie. I love it. I love it.
Do you know whose favorite movie
Ford Fairlane is?
Ford Fairlane? Dieter Bastian. And Dieter Bastian sent us a super chat, Dave. Dieter Bastian says, so Army of the Dead should make an excellent Elizaview show and would finish up a nice Snyder trilogy watch. Dave, did you see Rampage from Uwe Boll?
No, I have not. Simon did an interview with me and we talk all about that. The only Uwe Boll movie I've ever seen is House of the Dead, and then I said no more.
Well, that's because you wrote it.
Yeah, I mean, but after that, I refused to watch anything that he did. So House of the Dead is the only Uwe Boll movie I've ever seen.
Oh, Dave, you're going to love this. Evan Newman sends in a tip. Evan! He says, greetings, Rob and Dave. Midnight Metal Virgin here.
Ooh.
Bought my first home in the Twin Cities and moved in today. Needed to celebrate, so I decided to finally stay up and get metal, dude. Fuck yeah, dude. How metal is it you're a homeowner? Yeah.
Boy, I thought you were going to say something else for a minute.
Oh, come on now. What? Stay up and get metal. You are metal. Fuck yeah, Evan Newman.
Congrats, man.
Evan Newman,
Congrats
that's fucking metal. You got a home. There's nothing more metal than being a homeowner. May your hills always run red, he says. Aww. And a happy belated birthday, Rob. I wouldn't say it's belated because, if you count, I think I came out of the womb at 5 p.m. So theoretically, if you consider your birthday to last 24 hours, not just on a calendar thing, my birthday should continue until 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So there you go, Evan. Congratulations on the home, sir.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
So do you think The Hills Will Always Run Red would be like the name of the third one if we had made like a trilogy?
Dude, I still want to make The Rivers Run Black.
But that's not. I mean,
The Hills Run Red.
It's metal.
The Rivers Run Black.
Red. And then what? My balls are blue.
No, but because rivers flow out of the hills, and we got to come up with another name. Like what can we do?
Maybe, we know what we're gonna do. We're gonna move on to another question.
Steve Foley sends in a super chat and says, "Lateralis turns 20 today. My favorite album by the best band on the planet, Tool." Tool's pretty fucking good.
I've got a Tool story.
Okay,
so
about your Tool or
no, about the band Tool. So it was cool, and Rob actually was there when we worked at Full Moon. I probably said this before in another show. So there was an effects artist who was in house, and he had his own studio there. His name was Mark Rappaport.
Yes.
And the thing is, Mark Rappaport built all the stop motion puppets for Tool's videos. So occasionally I would go over to the shop and there would be members of Tool over at the shop just hanging out. And,
by the way, Dieter Bastian's getting so jealous right now.
And they were really nice and obviously really big horror fans. So that was my cool Tool story.
I mean, how cool is it that they were just, Tool's here because Mark Rappaport was building their stop motion puppets. I love those videos, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Love those videos. So, wow, that album's 20 years old. We're old. Tim Possible sends in a super chat and says, "Hello there." You can't not say hello there without doing it in Obi-Wan Kenobi's voice. My God, Ron C sends in an incredibly generous super chat, Dave. Send me your PayPal. I'll split this with you.
Right.
Ron, first of all, thank you very much, sir, for supporting the channel. Happy birthday. San Francisco Blockbuster video stores had a full moon section where I lived. I rented House of the Dead in 2007. My question to Dave Parker: how did you get the chance to write the screenplay? Have a scenario weekend.
Thank you. Knee pads.
We're not beneath, you know what? We're not beneath that. Give us a job. You want a rim job? Give me a job. Fine. I'll do it.
I mean, the quick version of it is that Mark Altman, who was one of the producers, we got together, a bunch of us, one Sunday, and we watched, I believe, not Mike Hurst's brother's movie. I forget. Mike Hurst's brother was a director, and he had like a heist movie that he showed, and then we showed my first movie, Dead Hate the Living, and it was a zombie movie, and Mark enjoyed it for some reason, and he said, "Well, we're getting the rights to the House of the Dead. Would you be interested?" And then that's how it happened, because we were friendly, and he was like, "Oh, Dave knows zombies. Here you go." And then they proceeded to say we wanted to do nothing with the game. We didn't want to do the game at all. And I knew we were kind of in trouble, but it was an opportunity, and it was a bigger opportunity than a Full Moon movie. So it was like I would have been a fool not to take it. And you could have never predicted that what was going to happen was going to happen.
By the way, I just want to say Andre from Midnight's Edge is here. He's around, but I don't see or hear him, which I don't know. I don't know why he's here, but I can hear.
You can hear it.
Yeah, I just can't see you. You're just.
Well, that's better.
Actually,
that's
he's from Norway, so it's black, like it's black Norwegian metal. Let's put it. Hang on. Wait. You can't. If you're gonna talk about Full Moon, we got to put you on the. We got to put you on. First of all, Andre, how the hell do you pronounce your last name?
I'm Hadiad.
I can't do that. Wait, say it one more time. Ein Hadiad. I love that. What a great name. Okay, we're about to be graced by Andre, the impresario from Midnight's Edge. I'm gonna add him to. By the way, these Midnight Metal streams, we get the best people. You never know who's going to show up.
I mean, this is seriously. it's so much fun. I mean, obviously, it's like, we're old and we're staying up late. So it's like, obviously it's fun.
Speak for yourself.
All right, I'm old. Rob is eternally young.
That's right, goddammit.
Because he bathes in the blood of virgins.
I do.
Yeah, see, you're lucky.
Yes. Welcome, Andre from Midnight's Edge. He has joined the stream. By the way, people from Norway are inherently more fucking metal than people from the rest of the world. Are they not?
Well, we invented death metal, so there has to be something to it.
Fuck yeah, you did. So Andre, we've been talking horror. Horror is a genre, and our now you just were about to mention Full Moon, and both Dave and I mean, Dave worked there longer than I did. I was there for a couple of years. What do you think of what are your impressions? You were going to talk about Full Moon.
I think that Full Moon is metal. That's all I can say about it. So many of my all-time favorite movies, so many of my favorite producers and everything is from Full Moon. So that is absolutely awesome. Full Moon freaking rules.
Man, that's awesome.
I
Rob,
love hearing that.
I just want to ask, because I'm looking at the feed. Is everyone seeing him? Because I'm not seeing him.
That may be connected to the fact that I don't actually have a webcam connected.
Okay.
No, that's why. Andre.
I'm a little slow. Hear me? We're good.
Yeah, we can hear you. Andre is fucking black metal. That's what he's doing. He's in Norway.
No,
There's nothing more metal than Andre right now. He's coming to us from Norway.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get
How
it.
awesome is that,
Andre?
I'll put text so people know who he is.
What's your favorite Full Moon movie?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. Let me see. I have a real soft spot for the vampire movies, like Bloodstone.
The subspecies
movies.
Yeah, I think honestly those may be among my favorite ones. I caught them back on Swedish TV by coincidence. It was I say Bloodstone because the first one I saw was actually Bloodstone.
The second one,
up with the other ones later, and just like Radu the vampire, just like the visuals with his fingers and everything is freaking amazing. Absolutely
fucking metal,
amazing.
dude.
Yeah. And also The Pit and the Pendulum with Lance Henriksen.
Stuart Gordon's Pit and the Pendulum.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm a big Stuart Gordon fan. He will be missed, so I look very, very much forward to the continuation of kind of like what he started with like the new version of like Castle Freak. I don't know if you've seen it.
I worked on it.
Oh, there you go. That movie had me so freaking excited with the promise of the future, and it was like such a Stuart Gordon, Brian Houston vibe to it. I thought that was such a cool remake. And a franchise starter. Like, I don't know why more people aren't talking about it. It looks like the beginning of a new cinematic universe with Re-Animator and everything.
Yeah, it's coming around now, and they did a pretty awful remake of it recently.
Yeah,
Castle Freak.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, I was excited by the promise of the remake more so than it, but the original Castle Freak, one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
By the way, Gordon Waddell sends in a tip and says, "Rob, happy birthday, you metal motherfucker. It's fucking 3 a.m. here, but I'm hammered and I'm wishing you a very metal birthday." Well, Gordon, fuck yeah, dude. You do that, you get wasted, be more wasted, and thank you for the kind birthday wishes.
That's very nice.
Cardinal Sin says, "Dave, what's more metal, Mandy or the Neon Demon?"
Really? Really? Is there really a question? Mandy.
Yeah, you know what?
Mandy's even set in 1983. Way more metal. Way more fucking
Andre,
metal.
have you seen Nicolas Cage and Mandy?
I have not. It's on my list of things to do.
It's fucking metal.
Joe Bob hosted it last night on the Shutter Show.
Yeah.
All right.
It's fucking. It's amazing. It's way more metal, and
it's
and honestly a much better movie too.
It's Panos Cosmatos.
Yeah,
That's the son of the director of Rambo.
The son of the director of Unknown Origin.
Yeah,
Nice.
I know. And but by the way, man. And Panos Cosmatos directed Beyond the Black Rainbow. Which by
is
the
also
way,
very metal too.
It's so fucking metal, and I have that DVD or the Blu-ray. I mean, if you haven't seen Beyond the Black Rainbow, what are you waiting for? I mean, seriously, people.
Yeah, I can't get into. I saw the Neon Demon with a bunch of people on Christmas Eve.
Didn't we go together?
Yeah,
we all went. We went. You and me and Darren
and Tammy and
Dan,
and God, that movie.
I was so disappointed.
It's awful.
Nicholas, I'm a Nicholas. Do you like Andre? Do you like Nicholas Winding Refn? Do you like Only God Forgives, or do you like the dry? What is it?
A little bit mixed. I do. Yes, I do think that his movies sometimes can be a little bit on the little bit of a pompous side. But on the whole, I do like him. I especially liked Valhalla Rising.
Valhalla Rising with Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, that was metal.
That fucking movie rules. I love that movie.
Yeah, but
the Pusher ones, the Pusher movies.
Yeah. Sorry, what was that?
The Pusher movies.
Those are good too.
Yeah.
Now
Bronson.
I love Bronson.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
that's like one of my favorite biographies of criminals, right next to Chopper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great one too.
That's a great double bill. Bronson and Chopper is a great double.
Yeah,
Andre, for those of
Stander in there, and you have like a triplet in there, that's also even better.
I have to say that Andre, for those of you who don't know, is one of the preeminent, I would call him, scholars of Conan.
Oh,
and if you guys don't watch Midnight's Edge, you should. But Andre, you did a great. I mean, how many times have you talked about Conan?
I don't know. Not as many as you'd think. Not as many as I'd like. But I think maybe that the ones that are there maybe stand out more. Let's see. It did 2 full retrospectives, many more to come, and then 4 or 5 like updates on the various TV series from Amazon. Of course, we did the announcement of the Solomon Kane series. Very happy to say that we were the ones that got to do that. And of course, the coup de grace is the 2-hour interview with Fredrik Malmberg, the owner of the entire Conan and Robert E. Howard estate.
Yeah.
So that was pretty awesome. Oh, also 2 interviews with Jim Zub, the current writer of Marvel's Conan comics, and they are metal.
Yes.
Oh, they're fucking great. And the Savage Sword of Conan, and one of my favorite comics of all time is What If Conan the Barbarian was in the 20th century?
The 2 of those
with the Bill Sienkiewicz cover, with the gun. It's one of the greatest things ever.
Awesome. That would be pretty awesome. Yeah. Andre, do you also cover the movies, not just Conan the Destroyer, but like Red Sonja and these things that are
working on it right now. We actually covered that movie a little bit in conjunction with the announcement of the new movie, and I'm working on a larger retrospective on it.
What do you feel about the casting of that? I forget her name. The new Red Sonja.
I forget her name too. I don't think that she is the problem. I think that she is a very, very beautiful woman. And if she had been cast as Belit, I would have said, yes, hell yes. Belit, for those that do not know, it's Conan's first and only true love. And she looks just like Belit. She would have been absolutely fantastic in the upcoming Netflix Conan series as Belit. You were to cast her in that, I would say freaking spot on. As Red Sonja, she kind of has like her personality, because the Red Sonja that we know and love, she's not a creation of Robert E. Howard.
Right.
He created the original Red Sonja, but she was a Russian gunslinger in the 16th century in his original story, Shadow of the Vulture. This was a story that then Roy Thomas rewrote into a Conan story set in the Hyborian Age for Marvel's Conan comics.
Wow, that's fascinating. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, but that's the origin of the Red Sonja that you have right here. She's actually an original Marvel Comics character, inspired by a completely different Robert E. Howard character.
Sure.
And in the comics, Red Sonja, her personality has actually varied wildly from run to run, as has her personality, background, and everything else. The only two constants are her flowing red hair, her being a badass, this is three constants then, plus the chain mail bikini.
Right.
And before anyone complains that this is something that is not suited for combat, she is far more dressed than Conan himself is.
That's true.
Now, let me ask you something. As you know, I worked on a Netflix series, an animated series called Dota Dragon's Blood, and it was created by Ashley Miller, who wrote the Red Sonja script that...
Yes, for Bryan Singer.
Yes. Have you talked to Ashley?
I have not.
I should hook you guys up.
Yeah, you got to hook that up.
Absolutely.
First of all, he's one of the most delightful people that I know. I've known him for 20 years. I actually got him his first job writing features because he wrote Agent Cody Banks. And then he went on to write X-Men First Class for Brian, and then Brian and Matthew Vaughn, and then Thor. But he'll probably, I'm sure he would send you I'm not, by the way, Ashley, if you watch this, I'm not promising anything, but I'm sure that Andre would very much appreciate reading your Red Sonja script.
I absolutely would.
Yeah, and I'll make sure that will happen. Wink, wink, nudge,
would be
nudge.
Fantastic.
But he would be he's a great interview. You should interview him because the work he did and the research, and so I'm not trying to pimp him out, Ashley. I am pimping you out, but kind of.
I'm quite. I follow him on Twitter and everything. I'm quite familiar with him and his work. He was actually the first one that broke that the Amazon Conan series had been cancelled. And
wow.
Yeah, he was. Well, I don't think that he intended to do that. We were the ones that disseminated the claim, but it was actually inspired by his tweet that I first thought, wait, hang on a minute, this doesn't seem right. And then did some more research, and whoa, what do you know?
By the way, yesterday, let me just say that I heard from a very reliable source that they're shooting Picard seasons 2 and 3 concurrently.
Oh my God!
And
just like they're doing a Discovery seasons 4 and 5. Yes, yeah.
So this person that I know, said they're talking about doing a prequel Picard series, a Stargazer series, and this, by the way, this is not. And someone said to me, "Oh, you watch too much Midnight's Edge, and Doomcock and all this," and I'm like, you're just reporting there, and I'm like, no, I do watch a lot of Midnight's Edge and Doomcock. That's true, but this information did not come from them, and someone's like, where'd you read that? I'm like, I didn't read it anywhere. I heard it from someone who was actually, well, let's say, on the set of the production of Picard, and they're developing this prequel series where he's going to be on the Stargazer.
Is that the mystery project? Because we've been hearing that they are working on another thing. There's another series that's in aggressive development.
It's a prequel series of Picard on the Stargazer.
Right. Okay, that explains things, because I've been trying to dig around it, because I know that there is one more. We've said this in our last video, that there is one more. We know there's another thing. We don't know what it is. We speculated that it might be the Khan prequel series, based on that's the only other thing we've heard about, but we couldn't say for certain. So that's what it is then.
Yeah, that's
talking.
Yep.
I'm gonna be right back.
Yeah, and then we'll continue Red Sonja, because we didn't get into the casting.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Well, Dave, when you go, we'll answer.
Talk about that con thing for a minute. I'll be right back.
Well, as you know, I reported on Nicholas Meyer's 3 con So Nicholas Meyer, who directed Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, was originally, he wrote, it was going to be a 3-episode event series about Khan, and it was about the time when Khan was marooned on SETI Alpha 5 to the time when SETI Alpha 6 exploded. 3 scripts were written. They're great. I reported on it. I read them, and I the only reason I did a story on them on my YouTube channel was because I liked them, and I thought they were never going to get made. And
something else that also was apparently great was the original pre-Kurtzman Star Trek Discovery. But anyway, carry on. I didn't mean to
oh, yes,
interrupt.
there's that, too.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know anything about that. By the way, I was at Brian Fuller's house today.
Oh, nice.
I went to his house because this is very funny. He put up on Facebook, he said, I need to get rid of these. And he had the 3 Drew Struzan paintings of Kirk, Spock, and McCoy that were actually hanging in his office at the Discovery production offices while he was the showrunner.
And I'm happy to take them off his hands.
Well, that's what. And I said, dude, I want those. I'd wanted those posters, and he goes, well, come and get them. And I'm like, okay. And being that today was my actual birthday, I before I went and saw Army of the Dead in Hollywood for the first movie I've seen in 15 months in a theater, I stopped by his house. And what was really interesting was I called him, he wasn't there, and then he has a beautiful house and a great location. It's amazing. So I hit the button, and he's sitting outside, and he's having a meeting, and he's in the process. He's producing. I did not know this. He's producing a documentary about queer horror, and the director of that documentary was there, and they were in the middle of a meeting, and I felt like, oh my God, I'm an interloper. And he's like, oh, it's so good to see you. How's it going? And he's got these. It was very funny. And he says to me, he goes, these were hanging in the Discovery production offices. And he's like, I don't know if that means you don't want them anymore. I'm like, oh no, I want them. Please, let me take them off your hands. It does not matter. And he's like, well, maybe before you hang them up, you should burn some sage or something to cleanse them. He was very funny, and I thought that.
Have a priest or a rabbi do a blessing.
Yeah,
he is
it's
such
like,
a
please.
funny, like good guy.
Really.
Really.
I love Brian Fuller, and I have to say that there's a book on the making of Hannibal. I think it's called The Art of Hannibal. I have it. It's hard to get now, apparently, but I love Hannibal. I think it's an amazing achievement, and a lot of that was really his doing. I mean, it was the way he. When I think about how mythology can be changed, how do you when you had books that have been adapted and that are so iconic, like what do you do to change them? How do you make them fresh and new and flip you want to change the gender of Freddie Lounds and turn Freddie Lounds from a dude into a woman. Hannibal is like a textbook example to me of how to do something correctly.
I agree completely. In terms of doing a re-adaptation of something that has been done with literal perfection before, because Silence of the Lambs, it was a 99% perfect thing to the book. There's no reason to ever adapt it again. Same thing with both Manhunter and Red Dragon.
Yeah.
Manhunter was more of the interpretation. I actually prefer that. And then you have Red Dragon with Edward Norton, which was again literal perfection in adaptation. Hannibal, not so much.
I love that one.
Though I do love Hannibal as it's so weird.
It's such a black comedy.
Because the thing is,
the ending destroys it for me, but it's great up until that point.
Yeah, well, have you read the book?
Yes, I have.
Book,
that's
the
exactly.
book
That's why But I prefer the book ending to the movie ending. Vastly so.
I completely agree with you. And there's, can you imagine? Here's what I've always thought was so funny. I imagine that Ridley Scott or the screenwriters and all that, they're like, they submitted that ending to the studio, and the studio's like, what the fuck is this? There's no way that Hannibal and Clarice are gonna like live happily ever after in like Buenos Aires or where the hell they go. They're in love with one. What? And that was Thomas Harris saying "fuck you" to loving Hannibal Lecter.
Exactly. That was the whole point.
Yeah, you people love Hannibal Lecter. You've turned him into he's your hero. Like this is and Thomas Harris himself, can you imagine this guy has written a diabolical serial killer that eats people, and yet he becomes this populist figure that everyone loves. And Thomas Harris is like, no, you're not supposed to love him. No. And so he writes Hannibal, which, by the way, I love that book. I really like the movie a lot. But the ending, it was like they copped out. They copped out. They didn't. And I understand why they did it, because people would have been like torching the theater if they went with the ending of the book. And I remember when the book came out, I read that book. I have my first edition of all of the Thomas Harris, even Hannibal. What is it? Hannibal Rising.
Hannibal Rising. Yeah.
What a terrible. Why did he write that? But anyway, that
was ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. But Brian Fuller even adapted some of that book,
and he did it good.
He did it well.
Than it ever was. It had never been as good as that before.
No, and it what I don't understand is, and no one ever talks about this. Brian Fuller, Mads Mikkelsen, they all wanted to do season 4 of Hannibal. And what Brian Fuller was trying to do was he didn't have the rights to Silence of the Lambs. And he wanted to do his spin on Clarice Starling.
Right.
The idea that Alex Kurtzman, who basically stole Discovery away from him and gets co-creator credit, stole it, went on to get Silence of the Lambs and make a Clarice series without Hannibal Lecter.
Have you seen it, by the way?
It's god-awful.
Yeah, because I got the script for the first episode. That was god-awful. I never bothered actually seeing it.
Oh, no, it's god-awful. It's god-awful. But I think one of the worst things that's ever happened in Hollywood history is that Alex Kurtzman somehow got Silence of the Lambs or the rights to do this, and Brian Fuller didn't get to do season 4 of Hannibal.
Yeah,
and I'm like, it is so bad. It is so decidedly unmetal, and it makes me want to scream, because the artist Hannibal was such a beautifully made show. It was so transgressive, and I think it might be the best horror television show ever made, maybe. And Mads Mikkelsen and Darcy.
I think it's Dancy.
It's Dancy. It is, and Hugh Dancy and Mads Mikkelsen. I mean, and the entire cast, the cast of that show, and the fact that they weren't able to do season 4, and that Alex Kurtzman made a Clarice series. Like, dude, fuck you. You are not metal. You like I don't even understand. Like, how does that guy, like, if I was him, I'm like, pocket your money that you made from like Transformers 2. Walk away, bruh. And go. Why do you keep inflicting this on us? Why do you keep fucking up our world?
Yeah, I agree. He is not metal. I mean, he's not even
Fuck
punk.
No, he's not.
I mean, he's Winger under Doubt.
Oh, man. But yet he's like talk about being Dave said earlier, how did he get his job writing House of the Dead? He said on his knees. Well, I think that Alex Kurtzman must have some knee pads that he carries around with him everywhere.
But I'll say
by
this,
God,
he must be better at it than I was, because he has a much more successful career.
Yeah,
I don't know.
May have been better at being a politician, and
for sure,
and sucking up with the right other politicians and getting in the right clique. That's evidently all there is to it, which sucks to high heavens, but that's what it is. And yes, the premature cancellation of Hannibal is one of the things that hurt me the most. there's like 4 cancellations that really hurt me, and that one is right up there.
But I'll say this: I don't think it's impossible that it can't come back.
Well, they're trying.
Because look at Dexter. How long has that show been gone?
Yeah, thank God for that, because I mean, I think the only way to salvage it, though, it doesn't really help to like bring him back right now. What you need to do is go back to where Scott Buck took over and undo from there, because that's when it took the territory into fact. I remember seeing that first episode of season 6. Everyone thinks it should have stopped after season 4.
Yes,
I disagree. Season 5 was actually a perfectly fine wrap up. Because I don't remember who was the showrunner there. It wasn't the original, and it was like an intermediary showrunner. He did okay. It was like harmless.
Yeah.
But then season 6 became with Scott Buck, and that's when I really started to take a disliking to him, because I could tell from the first episode something is very, very wrong here,
right.
And it only went off the rails from there.
But
Andre, wait, hang on a second. There's a lingering question I have.
Sure.
You said 4 cancellations, and Hannibal was the first.
Yeah.
What are the other 3, sir? Come on now, don't leave me hanging.
No. Of course, Star Trek Enterprise.
All right, I agree.
That one hurt. I wanted season 5 with the Romulans and the cat people from the animated series.
The Cajuns.
Those were both exactly. Those were both promises, and I think that one episode is one of the best episodes of all of Star Trek canon, animated or otherwise. So that hurt me, and like more of T'Pol and her half Romulan heritage, all of that. Like, that's when I really first started taking a disliking to Les Moonves.
Oh, when we were doing the Blu-rays for Enterprise and we were interviewing, we went to his house and did his interviews. When he told us that Les Moonves demanded he fire Scott Bakula, we were like, "Wait, what?" And Rick Berman's like, "Yep, Les Moonves wanted me to fire Scott Bakula," and basically I said, "Fuck you. Who the fuck are you? I'm not going to fire Scott Bakula." And so when Berman was done with Enterprise, he was on the Paramount lot developing projects. Les Moonves made sure nothing Rick Berman was trying to do would ever get made.
Wow.
And that was because Rick Berman said, "Fuck you, I'm not going to fire Scott Bakula."
Good for him, though.
And of course, we couldn't put that in our documentaries for Paramount.
No, of course
but that's
but
true.
That's what Midnight's Edge is for, because we can put stuff like that out there.
I know. And I will stand behind that 100%. That he told us that flat out. I mean, Rick Berman had no fucks to give. And he was so like I was very critical of him when I was writing for Sci-Fi Universe magazine in the 90s. But I have to say that I was very impressed meeting him, because Rick Berman was a guy like he going to his house. He has incredible. His wife is beautiful. He has beautiful taste. He's a very tasteful guy, and he's a man of wealth and taste. And I think that he was going to get fired from Paramount. He fell into Star Trek, and I think even to this day, he wishes that he'll be known for something more like Lawrence of Arabia, but he's not. And I don't think he loves Star Trek, but what he did do is he worked with Gene Roddenberry, and he understood that Star Trek was Roddenberry's creation. And for better or for worse, whatever it was, he recognized that Star Trek endured for a specific reason. And even all the way through Enterprise, Rick Berman was trying to preserve the DNA of Star Trek. What Roddenberry wanted to do in the 60s, Berman took all the way up to 2005. And he actually worked with Gene Roddenberry developing The Next Generation. And rightly or wrongly, I mean, I was always like, "Oh my God, you're not keeping in continuity," and blah, 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 blah. But Berman was like, he was smart. He's like, "I don't want to hear about the original series. We'll put McCoy in Encounter at Farpoint. We won't do an exact or a direct sequel to a Star Trek episode until the 3rd season of TNG with Sarek, and we'll bring back Mark fucking Leonard. We'll bring back Spock's dad and do a story about Alzheimer's," which was fucking brilliant. And so all of the Berman era from 87 to 2005 has Roddenberry's DNA, because Rick Berman knew that it was Roddenberry's DNA that would make Star Trek succeed. And the people that control Star Trek now have none of that. They have none of that. They have no understanding. They have no connection to Roddenberry. They look at Star Trek as something that they can make better for our
And
time
in the
today.
process, they have completely ruined it. And in my opinion,
Oh.
put the franchise in a worse state than it has ever been before. After it was cancelled in 1969, after its original run, there was demand for more. Where's that demand now? Now there's demand. It's just, please stop, put it out of its misery. That's the demand now.
Well, and what's funny is, if it was good, Star Trek should be a water cooler show. The Next Generation went off the air with its biggest ratings ever. And then 6 months later, Generations came out, a god-awful film, but still, you had it was on the cover of Time magazine. Star Trek was at its zenith in 1994. The fact that they have like 5 different shows going, and it has no pop culture footprint right now, no one talks about it, that's just abhorrent. This is I mean, I'm sorry we've derailed this. Star Trek right now.
This is not very metal, guys.
I'm sorry, you're right. You know what? Enough of Star Trek.
This is like one of your. This is like a observation now.
All right, okay. Let's go back. Swack Props sends in a tip and says, thanks to both of your recommendations. I saw The Empty Man and loved it. For those of you who don't know,
that's awesome.
randomly last weekend, David Pryor, the director of The Empty Man, was just watching this fucking stream. You know why? Because David Pryor's fucking metal, and so is his movie. And we were talking about it, and we brought David Pryor onto this stream. Amazing. But so Swack Props says we need more smart horror movies like that. I fucking agree, man.
Yep.
By the way, I cannot, when Cal comes on, so Swack Props is a foundational member of the Post-Geek Singularity.
Oh my God, the stuff that
go ahead, please.
Is incredible.
So Swack lives in Malaysia, and I didn't know what Swack is. Swack means south, I guess the South Island. So Cal, what he does is he makes prop recreations of things. Replicas, but things that are from made of paper. Like he makes books. He makes Henry Jones's Grail Diary from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Now, he was somebody that came on my channel, and Swack Props. One day I decided to Google Swack. What does that mean? Swack Props. I Google it, and his Etsy store pops up. And in his Etsy store, Swack Props makes a replica of the book, The Nine Gates of the Kingdom of Heaven, from Roman Polanski's The Ninth Gate, which is a movie that I particularly love. And
that's one of the best movies ever made.
Oh my God,
that movie too! And I'm so jealous that you have a replica of this book.
So here's what's so funny. So I can't believe, this is why I love the world we live in. We live in a world of wonders. So this guy that I don't know that's watching my channel, he doesn't sit there and go, you know, Rob, you should send people to my Etsy store to buy my products. He doesn't say this. Like, on my own accord, I look him up. And the fact that I love The Ninth Gate, a horror movie about books, I'm like, this is right up my alley. And he makes, and there's multiple versions of this book in the movie, and he makes them all. And so I'm going to show it again.
It's so gorgeous.
I'm just going to, so I just start talking about him on my stream, and he sends this to me. And I have to say, this might be one of my prized possessions. Like, I never thought that this would be. So if you know the movie, this is the cloth that Johnny Depp carries the book around, Boris Balkan's copy. So here it is. I mean, I've shown it before. Here's the book. So Swack Props makes this. Now, I can't tell you. My first job was working in the art department of movies for New Line Cinema. And this is, movies don't have props that are this good.
Yeah, the total quality.
I mean, and it's funny because he makes various versions. You know, when I die, someone's going to rifle through my possessions
and go,
and they're going to look at this and go, "What is this?"
And the one
and
who
they'll
knows
never know.
gets it, and the one who knows gets to keep it.
Yes, but not only that, when he sent it to me, what's so great is he doesn't just make the book, right?
No, I know, it's incredible the detail of these things.
He makes the postcard that's in the movie, and the writing, and then it came with business cards.
Business cards.
Here's Johnny Depp's business card for the film, and here is the two twins.
Right.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, this is why the fan community on YouTube is so good, is so wonderful, because the fact that Cal exists, and he's a man, and he's funny, he's articulate, he's not some guy he's not going in his basement like, I'm making movie props from the
clearly, because if he was that way, then the props wouldn't come out as well. This is someone who has a life and a passion, and that shows, and that's what's so awesome about it. And I'm curious, is he because he also does like Lord of the Ring maps you showed us,
bruh.
Which are amazing,
bruh. Okay, I just love Andre. Please indulge me because
no, go for it.
Okay,
absolutely.
Look at this.
I want one of that of the Hyperborean age.
Oh, he'll make you this. I mean, here's the Misty Mountains, but if you look at this, the parchment, it comes on parchment paper. He's weathered it. He's weathered it. You know, it looks just like, but that's not the best part.
I know, but I need to get that for friends of mine, because they're huge like Rings fans.
And
I know I've seen this before. But
I just say this because I don't know if you've seen this. So this looks like the Lord of the Rings version of the Misty Mountains prop, and you think, like, if you look at this, if you pick this up, it feels real, like it feels like it's from Middle Earth. It's weathered, but if you didn't think it was that cool, now watch this. So wait, hang on. It's got
more towards the bottom.
There we go. There we go.
It's got the runes. You know, you put the black light. I mean, like, come on.
Every one of these has to be handmade.
They are. He makes them all. I mean, Cal, he is like a mad wizard. And by the way, this entire. So I didn't even ask him to. One day he sends this to me. This pouch. And all it is, I always show the Lord of the Rings map because it's the easiest thing for people to grasp. Sure. But if you look in here, there's all, like, you know what, I'll save it for later. But there's all kinds of things he sent me. The guy's amazing. Swag props. Go to his Etsy store.
So I've got two questions. One for both of you and one for Cal. Cal, are you working on something new that we don't know about yet that you can talk about?
Well, I will say that Elizabeth, we did a review of Donnie Darko, and Elizabeth said in the review, wouldn't it be cool if Swag Props did a book, the book that's in Donnie Darko about time travel?
Oh, that's really
that would be nice.
He did it. He did it, and he sent her the artist proof. He sent her his first version of that book.
Wow. I know he's talking about doing the Sutter Kane novels, which I did find a version of.
Right.
Except for In the Mouth of Madness in hardcover, which did not come in the set. Only the paperbacks did. And literally that was kind of easy because it was just the covers on paperback books. But I love them. But for you two, and actually anyone watching, what's a prop if you collect prop replicas, which I do when I can afford them, which is not often. But is there one that you haven't seen that you would really like a replica of, like which would be cool? Like, for example, I would like the daggers from The Omen.
Omen 3?
Yeah.
The daggers of Megiddo.
Yes.
Dude, that would be awesome. Somebody must have them. I mean, with the movie prop world.
Probably, but that would be pretty cool.
Andre, if you could have, what would be the one movie prop you'd want to own?
Oh, that's I'm really not into like collecting props and stuff, so I really have to like stop and think about that.
Yeah, but I bet there's something.
The first thing that springs to mind would be the Lawgiver gun from both the 1995 Judge Dredd and the 2012 Dredd. Those
cool.
two Lawgivers. Yeah, I think I would like that.
Do you have? I know they make them because
I know they exist.
But our friend Neil has a replica of Crom, the sword, the Conan sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Atlantean Sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like two swords in that movie. It's the Father Sword, and it's the Atlantean Sword.
Right.
And those are both very cool and all, but actually they're not all that high up on my list because I'm a huge fan of all things Conan, but I'm actually more a fan of the original source material, the comics inspired by them than the movie, which is actually derived several times over, and those two swords, they're a big thing in the movie because and they are both symbolic within the movie of the themes being portrayed in it, which is something that I cover in the retrospective I did. But they're inventions of John Milius. They're nothing that has anything to do with Conan lore proper, because to Conan he has no special sword. If it's metal and it has a pointy end, he can use it. And that's the extent of how special swords get.
Oh, interesting. I just saw someone in the chat, Tony Reyes said a part of the Nostromo would be kind of cool to have, and well, we know here in LA, this collector and incredible guy Bob Burns actually has the Nostromo.
That actually reminds me of one thing. There's actually one more thing that I would want. I just have to, because you gave me idea when you said Nostromo. You know what one of my favorite spaceships of all time is in any movie? Because as I'm very, very open about, I don't really care about Star Wars. I didn't grow up with Star Wars.
Right.
I wasn't exposed. It was there in the background, but I didn't see it until I saw all of them when episode 1 came out, and by then they didn't make any kind of impact. But what did make an impact on me growing up, what was my Star Wars, was Spaceballs. And I would love a replica ship of Spaceball 1.
Is that the Winnebago?
No, that one too. No, that huge.
They're really long. They're really obnoxiously long.
Like the Nostromo.
Yeah.
The one that's like the first 5 minutes. It's just zooming over that whole thing.
Yep.
Hey, Rob. I think I think we now know why there's so much death metal.
By the way, let me just Bartholomew S. Farquhar sends in a tip and says, "Happy birthday, brudda from another mudda. It's midnight metal and it's fucking metal. Yeah." Be honest. How many double teams and Eiffel Towers have you and Dave participated in? I say at least 3. You guys are rock stars. I don't know, Dave. 3? I think 3.
That's fair.
I think it's fair.
Yeah.
And now,
Rob, we didn't get your answer to the prop question because I just took up all the space.
No, for me, there was one thing. Being involved with Axanar and Alec Peters, he was a prop dealer, so I've seen a lot of great props. I mean, I've held the Klingon battle cruiser model that was built for Trials and Tribulations. I held the Enterprise model Greg Jean built. So I've seen a lot of things. The one thing that I wanted, and in my entire life, my favorite spaceship of all time is the refit Enterprise that was built. The model, the 8-foot model, was built for Star Trek: The Motion Picture. And at the time, Christie's was having an auction, I think in 2008, of all these Star Trek props. Paramount was getting rid of everything. And one of the things that was for sale was that model. And Brian Singer, who I was working with, bought me I still have it's right here, the $500 hardcover catalog of all of the Star Trek things that were being sold. And I said, Brian, I go, dude, you've got to buy the Enterprise model. I don't know how much it's going to cost. I said it's probably going to go for $1 million, but you have to buy it. And he was rich, so whatever. But when the auction happened, I didn't like I chickened out. I should have called him. I said, you got to buy this. You got me the fucking $500 catalog. You should. Well, it sold to Mr. Amazon himself, Jeff Bezos, for only $250,000.
What?
The 8-foot, the most beautiful model maybe ever built for a movie. And by the way, and this was confirmed to me by Mark Stetson, who worked on Superman Returns. He said, because he worked on the model, there is an arboretum in that model. You can see, if you see the Enterprise from Star Trek: The Motion Picture, there are windows. And he said the model makers put a rock of cocaine into the arboretum. They put it in like a tree. So there's a giant rock of cocaine in that model. He told me that. And why would I not believe him? He was the visual effects supervisor on Superman Returns, and I was at his house at an Oscar party, and I won his very lucrative Oscar pool, and he told me that story. But so that model is now in the headquarters of Blue Origin. Jeff Bezos, you say potato, I say potato. Jeff Bezos, man who created Amazon, one of the richest men in the world. If you go into the headquarters of his Blue Origin space rocket company, that model is in the lobby.
Jesus.
It's not under a glass case. It's just like fucking open to the world. Like anybody can come up and touch it. Now, I saw that model when I was working on the Star Trek Experience that was built for Vegas. They brought that model down for us. I used to go for 6 weeks. I went and ate lunch under that model. They'd send it down, and I would literally like, well, I don't want to get weird. It is midnight metal. It's fucking metal, but it's not really metal. You know, when you're stroking a Starship model and feeling unclean thoughts. That is not metal. But Andre, to answer your question, that's what I want. I want that model that Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, owns. And he bought it. Brian probably could have bought it. The Enterprise D model that Paul Allen bought was $500,000. But now Paul Allen's dead. So.
Wow.
There you go.
Way to bring it down, man.
Okay, sorry, I didn't. Zach Losel sends in another super chat and says, I should have specified. She's still here. She's just not with me. All right. I guess I need to work on my phrasing. Rob, you would be the hottest 71-year-old. Well, you know, as long as I stop my man tits from getting bigger, you know, and keep shaving my scrotum, maybe. Got to work out, man. You know, make it last. Cardinal Sin says, I opened for Tool in the 90s in Lawrence, Kansas. That's opened awesome. For them? That's pretty cool. What did you do? Champion of Yesteryear sends in a tip and says, Gen Z says they were offended by an SNL skit that mocked their usage of TikTok lingo such as deadass and hella. I feel the ones who are writing articles about SNL's offensive skits are the ones the skit was targeting. Maybe Gen Z needs a mirror. My God, what Gen Z needs is a war so they can all get drafted.
Have we
fight.
Just got? I mean, that's the thing. Has everyone just gotten so fucking precious that they can't fucking like take a joke even now? Well, I mean, what the?
Oh,
what
yes,
the
Dave.
What the fuck?
Andre, I mean, you're from Norway. You live outside of the country. What the hell has happened to the U.S., man?
I don't want to go political here, but you got subverted, and you're being driven insane, and you're being gaslit by your own media and political parties.
Yep.
And it's completely obvious when you see it from outside, because, like you've said several times, we live in a world where no, we don't. You do, because you're in LA, which is like ground zero for this madness.
It's insane to me. You keep hearing these things of and of Gen Z and everyone who are what's it called, righteous signaling and
virtue
signaling and everything else, and it's just like and it's like everyone is out to destroy everyone now, and it's like have we and the funny thing is like, so this is what being locked up for a year equals. Have we learned fucking nothing at all about any of this shit? I guess not. It's like, oh, maybe stop being a shit person or something like that. But it's I mean, look, so, I'm not saying that, some people who have been put to task shouldn't be and brought down, but now it's just like, no matter, it's like they're just looking for the tiniest little fucking thing to try to destroy someone. And you know what? Fine. You want to fucking destroy me online, so I don't have an online I can't have social media or anything. It's almost like thank you, because I don't have to deal with. It's like it's like I'm barely on it anyway, because it's like I don't know how you stay on Twitter. I don't know how anyone it's like it's filled with so much fucking negativity. And so much of the shit, it's like on Facebook, I unfollowed, I'm still friends with them, but I unfollowed everyone because I don't want to, the daily barrage of complaining and bitching and moaning and shit.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, because Twitter allows everyone to express their opinions, and allows everyone to take the random opinion of a perfect stranger that you wouldn't care about, and you treat it as if it is someone very close to you, very personal, that has to be proven wrong. It's kind of what it does. It's extremely manipulative. That's why it's as big as it is, and that's why it's as bad for society as it is. Well, society, in my opinion, is in a worse place due to the existence of social media than it would have been without.
I totally agree. I mean, that's the thing now. Look, we live in a world now where people don't like, I've had people like go, oh, I don't like talking on the phone. I'd rather text. It's like, the fuck are you talking about? You can misinterpret so much shit through the tone of a text and everything. And it's happened so many times. I'm like, just get on the phone. It's so much faster than texting. I just, all this stuff to me is like, it's not metal. It's like, dude, it's about the alienation of people. It's like, here we're just separating ourselves. And the other thing is, on my little rant, it is, you know what, guys? Just because you interact with someone online on Twitter or Facebook or something and you haven't met them in real life or haven't seen them on something like this, where it's like you're actually kind of getting what the fuck we are for the most part.
Come on, really?
But you don't. That's the thing, guys. You don't know them, so you're taking shit way too personal.
Dude,
out there, it's like not specifically the people who are watching right now. I'm just saying in general. It's like you don't know the person, so don't feel. Oh, I feel so betrayed. It's like, why? You never met the fucking person in your life. What are you talking about?
I have to say, so you're gonna find this funny. So,
and as they say in Clubhouse. And no, I'm done speaking.
Yeah, I know. So right here, where I'm pointing right now, maybe I should put my hand. Oh, maybe not. This action figure of Vampirella
is that triggering people?
Yes. So
Red Sonja's outfit certainly was.
Yeah. So here's Vampirella. And I just want to say, growing up, Warren magazine's eerie, creepy Vampirella. I read them. And I have to say, as a young man, they made my dick hard. I'll
Dude,
admit it.
no one reads. What are you talking
They
about?
turned me on. Vampirella was a girl or a woman I wanted to know. She was scantily clad. She had supernatural powers, and she had big tits. And I'll admit that. And
I would have gotten so in trouble if my parents had found me with a copy of Vampirella.
Well, I weekly or monthly. So I have this figure, which I'm very proud of. It's got a Fison body that doesn't even have joints. It's got a skeletal, a stainless steel skeleton. There have been people that have been complaining that I have this figure on my wall, like on the shelf here, next to James Dean, next to James Dean, Charlie Chaplin, John Lennon, Michael Corleone, pop culture figures.
Why? Because it's sexualizing and exploiting women.
Yeah, apparently. And to me, I'm like, when did people not want to be fucking? Like, when in this country do women not want us? I mean, on one hand, you've got the Kardashians and posting all kinds of Facebook photos and Instagram, TikTok videos where they're being sexy and alluring. And if
I will say before the Kardashians, there's like multiple full frontal pics also that they post on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. But why especially I think America, not so much Europe.
No,
you guys have your heads way more. But why are we?
You've been human beings a lot longer than we have.
Yeah, but why have we? Why have we become almost so puritanical? Oh. It's like our movies are like there's barely a kiss in I mean, like there's no. Someone just said, horror used to be much more erotic. Yeah, you're right. It used to be, and now it's like, but we've always and films. We've always been so afraid of sex. And the thing is, even regular TV now, perfect example. We'll show you violence that's way more than anything George Romero ever got to do in an unrated film at the time.
Oh,
but
yeah.
God forbid people fuck.
Well, I'll tell you, when I met Paul Verhoeven for the first time, in 1985, I met Paul Verhoeven at the Seattle International Film Festival. Flesh and Blood, his first English language film, which was during the Crusades and medieval warfare.
Great movie.
Oh, it's great. It's fucking awesome.
Jennifer Jason Leigh?
Jennifer Jason Leigh was in it. And that I met I met her. She was dating Bruno Kirby at the time. They were all there.
That's really weird.
And I know, right? One. And at the closing night party, nobody was going up to talk to Paul Verhoeven. So I walked up to him. I talked to Paul Verhoeven for an hour. And he ranted and raved about the American rating system. And he's like, in his Dutch brogue or whatever, he's like, I just don't understand. Like, you can kill anyone you want in this country, but you touch a tit. He said, touch a tit, and everyone goes crazy. Because Flesh and Blood obviously had a lot of, it was sexual content that a lot of people.
It's called Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, and Rutger Hauer raped her on a hanging dead body. It's a fucking great movie, and great versions of it have been released on Blu-ray. Yeah. But it was interesting because as a kid, like what I liked about it, I was graduating from high school that year, so I was about to turn 18. I was 17 when I met him. And I had already I'd loved Soldier of Orange, I'd loved Spetters, I had loved The Fourth Man. His Dutch films really, and they would play them in Seattle. For whatever reason, Seattle was a great launching point for Dutch cinema in America. And the Seattle Film Festival had hosted him many times. And it was, and subsequently to that, as an aside, once, Dave, when I was with Peter Billingsley, we were turning on a 3rd Avenue, right by Cedars-Sinai Hospital, and Paul Verhoeven walked in front of our car, like randomly. I rolled down the window and I said, "Mr. Verhoeven," and he comes over to the car and he leans on the window.
It's like, you're the kid from Christmas Story.
Yeah, well, he didn't say that, but I said to him, I said, listen, because I had yelled his name. Peter didn't even know who he was. I said, I have to tell you, I met you in 1985 at the Seattle Film Festival when we talked about the ratings board.
He remembered you.
I remember you. I remember you. And he sat down and he told us about the Crusades. He was making a movie called The Crusades with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
And it never got made.
One of the greatest movies never made.
Never made. And
so
he told us all. This was 1993 when we were working on Arcade. And he told us, and it was so funny. He was just leaning on, he was leaning on the driver's side window. Peter was driving. I was in the passenger side. And there was Paul Verhoeven and he's gesticulating and he's talking about the Crusades and the rating system. And he's like, I remember you, and he talked to us for like a half an hour. And then he finally was like, oh, my woman's waiting for me. I got to go. We're like, go ahead, bro. And then I ran into him on the set of Starship Troopers on the Columbia lot. He was in his trailer. And I was walking down the road, and his door was open, and you could see that there was somebody laying on a couch. It was because those trailers. Yeah. And then he like looked up, and it was him. So I walked right up to his trailer, and I said, "Mr. Verhoeven, I met you." He goes, "I remember you." And I'm like, 85, 93, and this was 96. And those were my 3 meetings with Paul Verhoeven, and he remembered me, and it was.
Isn't that amazing?
It was incredible, but I just tell that to inflate my own ego. But the important thing is that what he was saying was that the hypocritical nature of our rating system and our entire culture about how we will prefer violence. And we look at how many shootings have there been in the last 30 days?
Right.
Mass shootings in America.
Yeah.
And people dying. We're fine with this. But show any kind of sexuality and people lose their fucking minds. I don't get
why at least out in the open are people afraid of sex? I mean, obviously people are still having sex behind closed doors, and the porn industry is probably stronger than ever in some ways, or at least even the amateur porn industry, whatever it is, but
hey man, even I'm going to have an OnlyFans account soon. Come on. I'm just kidding. Andre, you got any reaction to that? Because
I actually have a theory of why it might be, of why America is uniquely
repressed,
Puritan compared to Europe. I don't know if I'm 100% correct on this, but my thought is that it's something that's deeply, deeply ingrained into large, of course not everywhere, but large parts of the original American culture. And if you go back in time, go back to when America was first to be settled, who were the ones that settled it? It was many of them were Puritans.
The Puritans.
They were the religious extremists that were too extreme for mainstream Europe. They went to America specifically where they could practice their religion, their Puritanism, without being mocked for being crazy lunatic nutcases by the rest of the people.
So you're saying that really the reason that America was founded is because people were afraid of Europe's horniness?
No, I'm not saying that's the reason it was founded, but I am saying that many people that were afraid of Europe's horniness found a way to America.
That's fantastic.
People, and that's kind of like becomes ingrained institutionally in a way. I think, again, I'm not a historian in this matter, so I cannot say with 100% certainty, but to me it just makes sense when you look at who left, because there were like many waves of immigration, but the waves of the people that came because of hunger strike and better opportunities and stuff like that, they typically came a little bit later, when America was already established as a land of opportunity. Before it was a land of opportunity, it was a land to practice your religious freedom. Now, religious freedom in those days was code for you're just too extreme for Europe.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy. Oh, Rob, by the way, I just want you to know that if you do start an OnlyFans, Ash is very excited, and he's like, hell yeah, Rob, I want to see that freshly shorn scrot.
Well, I've always believed
So-
in. Look, I learned this from the Boy Scouts. You always want to be prepared, so you keep
and Rob certainly is.
you keep the scrot freshly shorn. You keep the ass crack freshly shaved because you never know what you want and what you're going to get. So you want to make sure that you. My whole thing is like make sure.
His whole thing.
Make sure that you are ready to deliver. Like here's my advice to everybody. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that your partner is satisfied first, because then you walk away and everyone's like, that Rob Burnett, he's a giver, and no one can ever talk shit about you. They can never talk shit about you.
And he's very smooth.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. I mean, you really and by the way, here's since we're talking about this, what I found very interesting was one of these midnight. So I did a ridiculous Freddie Mercury unboxing video of this figure, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So it was a 5-minute thing. It was sponsored by Manscaping. Because the analytics, the YouTube algorithm. So because I showed actual 1/6 scale peen cock, which came and it was very funny to me. But what's hilarious was when I was younger. This is gonna be so weird. When I was younger, I started let's just say grooming, and one of the things that I noticed back in the day, and we're talking late 80s, early 90s. Girls from California, when I moved here, were all freshly shorn.
Yeah.
But girls from New York were not. So you had a disparity between pubic hair between people in California and New York, which is a very different thing. So I was always somebody that, cleaned myself up. So when I dated this girl from New York that I loved, she was freaked out that I manscaped, and we're talking early 90s. She's like, "What the hell are you doing?"
But the funny thing is
but she had like unruly bush, and I'm like, what the hell aren't you doing? Like, you're in California now? We're not in New York where it's cold. You gotta be ready. You gotta bikini wax and all that shit. So it became an actual thing. Now, 30 years later, my videos get sponsored by a company that is they're telling men to shave their balls. And I'm like, by God, the future is a lovely place. Like, I can't believe the world we live in. My God.
Rob,
Crazy.
I must take a moment for this segment is actually sponsored by Manscaped, a product that I use and use often. So you can actually devise your subscription to be, what would you like particularly? Would you like the ball wax or the toner on your subscription?
Dude, I got pilloried by my New York girlfriend for manscaping, and now manscaping is all the rage. Between Dr. Squatch and Manscaping, I mean, come on.
Dr. Squatch is a little. I would like to try it, but it's pretty expensive as
dude.
So we could use a sponsor.
I have to tell you, I have
Dr.
stacks.
Squatch, because the fact that it's about Bigfoot, it's sort of a Bigfoot thing that is very metal. So if Dr. Squatch is watching, we could use some.
Dude, I have a stack.
Oh,
Andre,
man.
We're talking about YouTube sponsorships. I don't know who sponsors Midnight's Edge, but you must have seen Dr. Squatch ads.
I think I have when I've used VPN.
Yeah.
We don't get them in Norway, but one of our sponsors is Surfshark VPN.
Yep.
So obviously I use that whenever I need to bypass troublesome geo-blocking restrictions. Because whenever you have so and so many minutes of a movie released or something like that, typically it's geo-blocked to US only.
Oh yeah.
And then I love to take out my Surfshark and just change it from Norway to US. And then I get commercials like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have to tell you, I'm a sucker. When I get 10 different ads, I am one of those idiots. But I have to say, I bought a lot of Dr. Squatch soap. It's fucking metal. I don't know if they'll ever monetize me or whatever, but or sponsor me. Dr. Squatch soap is hideously expensive. So fuck you for that.
But you will feel metal after using it.
It's really, really, really good soap. I quite enjoy it. Enjoy it. And I never thought I get sucked in their barrage of YouTube analytic advertising. I'm like, I'm immune. But apparently I'm not.
Okay. So here's the one, I don't get sucked in but every now and then I'll be on Facebook or Instagram, and you'll get these ads for things, and so this week there was a bicycle, an electric bike. So it's a regular bicycle and electric bike, and it's sort of modeled after Steve McQueen's motorcycle from The Great Escape. And this is the thing,
which means you want it.
Right, and it looks kind of awesome.
Yeah, right.
And I don't have a bike right now, and the fact that it's electric and regular pedal is kind of cool.
Does it jump over the wired Nazi fence?
Of course.
Yeah.
Rob,
okay.
Please,
because you can't make that jump, dude. Come on.
It's got big fat tires and everything else. But here's the thing: in the ad on Facebook, this thing, get it now, free shipping for $109. Now, when you actually, and I'm like, these have got to be scams. There's no way these are real, because when you look at the company and you look up the bike and the company that really makes it, it's selling for a little under $4,000.
Yeah.
So it's like, people really fall for these scams. It's like, Jesus,
dude.
They were selling a Christopher Lee Scars of Dracula figure for $30. It was like a sideshow statue size with light up eyes and a light up base and everything else for $60. That thing is sold out and retails for like $500. So
YouTube. It's amazing how Facebook allows, like, there's you see ads for something called Wish. They're reselling. It's all bullshit.
I did call for one. I bought some metal shirts that I'm still waiting for, that are being custom made in Japan. Right?
Yeah, well, shirts. But all that
I'll never get
bullshit.
them, or I'll get them, and even though I ordered like an extra large, it'll be like a small person's medium or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I will say, like, T-shirts or things like this shirt, American. By the way, Lloyd Kaufman called me out on this. He was like, I knew Sam Arkoff. I love your shirt. I was like, great.
That shirt is amazing.
I love it.
And you know what's really metal? The movie Frogs. That's metal.
Dude, Warner Archive put Frogs out. I think.
They didn't. Scream Factory did.
Oh, was that Scream Factory?
Today the pond, tomorrow the world. That's metal.
Andre, let me ask you this. I mean, obviously, what I find very interesting is that the YouTube community that we all exist in is one of what the community is very inclusive. Like, I've been embraced, and I like all the different kinds of people that I've streamed with and met, and Midnight's Edge has been between you and Tom and Rob, but I've met so many great people, and I love being a part of this community. I've been embraced.
It's pretty amazing, because you have really had an entire new social circle of people since you've been.
Yeah, no.
The fun thing is that it's the most diverse, genuinely diverse community that I've ever encountered or ever seen. Because not only have you people from all over the world, of all ethnicities, of all nationalities, of all genders, of everything like that, but much more importantly, you have diversity of opinion. And for the most part, we can all get along because we focus on what we love and not on what brings us together, rather than what splits us apart. That's my issue with social media, with Twitter and everything like that. It's rage driven. The emphasis is on the things that tear you apart. Same thing with like headlines and media and everything like that.
Yeah.
The emphasis is on things that tear you apart and destroy you as a society. Whereas what we do right here, what we do, everything that we do comes from a point of love of genre culture. That's a thing that unites us all.
Yes.
And then, of course, we can have different opinions on how that is being executed today and what causes that. But ultimately, we're brought together by love and what we agree on.
Well, you know, I love that you say that, because there's a lot of people on my own channel or people that I know that don't quite understand, like, why would I go on Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers? Why would I go on his channel? Or why would I go on people's channels that they perceive to be different from what I'm trying to sell, or my whole thing is about inclusion and joining in. And my whole, what I would say is, well, why wouldn't I go on people's channels? Like, I like all people. Like, I really do. And I enjoy all points of view. And I think one of the great things about social media is the diversity. I love the diversity of people, the diversity of ethnicities or schools of thought or politics. I mean, the fact that I find it so strange that we live in a world where people want to quantify you or define you by who you associate with. And I'm like, I like associating with everyone, because everybody has something to tell me that I don't know.
Are you saying that everyone you meet has a story?
I know. Yes, I am. But there's been a lot of people that I would have thought that would have understood this, but they don't. And then they come after me and they're like, how dare you talk to this person? And I'm like, why wouldn't I talk? Why would there be a person I wouldn't want to talk to? I mean, even Adolf Hitler, as a Jew, I'm a Jew. I was born into I was adopted by a Jewish family. I had a Jewish education. My family built a synagogue. If I had an opportunity to talk to Adolf Hitler, and I would have to know that I was raised Jewish, but if I could have met him and talked to him, I would have. Like, I would have sat down and I'd be like, brah. Well, I might not have said brah, but I would have said, dude.
That would have been
dude.
great if you did go.
I might have said, Mr.
Adolf, brah.
I would have said, Mr. Führer, whatever. I would certainly not have turned down an opportunity to talk to Adolf Hitler.
I think that would have been one of the most interesting conversations ever.
Right? And what I don't get is why do we live in a world where you talk about academia in America, students protest speakers that are being paid that come to campus? Like, what is a speaker going to do to you? Like, even if you don't like a speaker that's going to talk, wouldn't you rather be, like, even if you hated that person, wouldn't you rather hear them speak so you have more knowledge and understanding of why you hate them? Like, I just don't get why the free flow of ideas are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed by people that I would have used to think that were on my side. Like, I consider myself a classical liberal, but I can't begin to tell you how much pushback I get from the left, from people that I thought would, shouldn't you be sympathetic to what I'm saying? Like, I'm open to hear everyone. That's the whole point. We have a beautiful planet with all kinds of different people and all kinds of different points of view. Let's hear from them. If you don't like what they say, after you've heard them say that, then write your op-ed pieces or pillory them online or whatever, because they've put themselves out there for criticism. But the idea that you don't want to allow someone to speak or is, to me, I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I really don't understand. Bad ideas, if they're exposed to the world, if you think they're bad, if they are exposed, let those ideas live and die based on their own merits. Bad ideas will not catch on, and they will die. But to not allow people to express themselves, to me, is one of the single worst things you could possibly do. And in America, we are gleefully doing it. We are every day. Someone can't speak. Oh, fuck that guy or that girl, or that person or that whatever. And I'm like, let them speak. Let everybody speak. If they have bad ideas, they will be weeded out. The society will figure that out. The idea that you would squelch speech, that you would curtail anyone from speaking, is to me insanity.
I think the other thing is, I think so many people are bothered by Trump being president, and the fact that, you know, it's like whether you like him or you don't like him, the fact is that he didn't play by the rules, and he exposed a lot of fucking shit.
Yeah, he did.
Out there, a lot of the fucking hypocrisy and a lot of shit out there that and that's why that's why they didn't like him, but that's why a lot of people did like him, because he was not a politician. But the fact that he was so vocal and he used social media, I think that's a reason why people have gotten to this, especially the left. The funny thing is, the left,
which I thought I was a part of.
Yeah,
but they're
the ones who are bringing up all this.
They're the ones who will put me on a fucking pike and burn me alive.
They're the left is the ones who are, you know. Sorry, everyone, but I at least in my feeling, are the ones who are being so hypersensitive about all this shit.
Yeah, like, guys, I've even heard this in Norway in reference to American politics, so you certainly must have heard it too. And again, I'm not talking for me here, but the expression is, I didn't walk away from the left walked away from me.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with that 100%. And what I find so strange is that all of society, all of politics, everything is based around human nature. You know, what is it we need? What is it we want? You know, people want community. We want love. You know, we want all these things, and our societies are structured around those things. Well, what we're dealing with now is for instance, virtue signaling. That's a luxury. When we don't have to like hunt and kill our food or wonder where we're going to lay our heads the next day, we're so far up our own asses
that we have to look for things to bitch about, because the rest of life is not that hard in comparison to the way it used to be. So now everyone's just looking for and it's such a weird thing. People are looking for shit to be outraged at.
Well, also because it's an easy way to feel a sense of accomplishment.
It's like, so weird because it's like you feel accomplished by doing and making other people feel bad.
Well, or I'm going to go be a social crusader, and I'm going to make sure somebody that has a bad point of view, I'm going to go after them.
That's what I don't like about the mere term virtue signaling.
Right.
Because you have had that in any totalitarian society in history. You have had virtue signaling. It just wasn't called virtue signaling. That's a new phrase. What it was showing that you were down with the regime, and sometimes that meant breaking windows of the stores where the shop owners were of an ethnicity that you didn't like. I mean, the people that did that back in Germany in the 40s, you know what they were doing? They were virtue signaling. That was virtue signaling at the time.
What was
this is the same thing. This is basically just showing you're down with the regime.
Yeah. What was the Crucible? Is that not virtual signaling?
Yeah. Well,
so have we learned? We've not progressed, really, or we've regressed.
Well,
nothing ever changes. That's exactly right.
It's crazy.
It's regressed into I would say like the same kind of period of time that comes just before you're about to enter into a really, really dark period of history, when you have the people that want to show how down they are with the regime. And they do so by showing, oh, look, I'm doing this just as they want me to. This is what they say is cool now. This is who I have to like, and this is who I have to hate. And I will show how down I am by attacking those people that are right now at this point in history labeled as enemies. That's what virtue signaling is. It's no more.
Yeah, no. Well, I have to tell you, so obviously people who are aware of the news, what's going on in Israel now, I mean, the escalation, the ongoing, the 60, 70-year ongoing conflict between the Palestinians and the Israelis.
Let's not forget this, that just a few months ago, that situation was, I'm not going to say it was perfect, but it was better than it had been for decades.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And all the progress that was done in the last few years, I'm so amazed that there was practically peace in the Middle East, and it got no attention whatsoever. And now, and this is because of external influence, those very things that were put in place to actually make things better there were undone by going back to what was tried more than 8 years, like more than 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Things that never worked. Now it's back to those policies, and things are worse than ever because of it.
Well, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. One, Paul, yes, we're going to get to the tips and answer your questions. And people are going, politics is not that metal. But it is. It is metal.
Well, but I would say, dude, it is.
No, it's
metal.
not. It's important because that's what
it is
prevents
important.
metal
It
from
is.
happening.
It is important.
It's important to get out of the way so that you actually can have metal happening.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the thing is, we live in a society where, and by the way, our entire YouTube ecosystem, talking about movies, is a luxury ecosystem. When people talk, what I find, Robin DiAngelo's white fragility. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Give me a fucking break. I mean, and I read that book and I'm like, I do not, my life as a I have never once considered my like color, or people are like, well, that's your privilege. I'm like, no, it's how I was born. And the fact is, like, my life, I don't wake up and think about race. I don't think about any of that. I think about, okay, what do I have? What's due today?
Yeah,
like how much money do I need to pay off whatever bill needs to show up today? I mean, and that's, I think, how most people are.
No, well, you can say that, but you are a white, privileged white male, so you can say that. But I we're gonna veer down into
Dave.
No,
I'm just saying
we're gonna veer into a cavern that we can.
No, I'm just saying, I'm like in our lives in Hollywood, there's not a better industry to prove that it doesn't matter who you are, you get fucked in Hollywood. You will never succeed. You will get abused. You will get destroyed. There is no privilege in what we've tried to do in our lives. Nothing. No one ever said, oh, you're a white male. Look, I was raised a Jew, adopted into a Jewish family. That didn't. I'm waiting for the Jewish secret cabal that controls the world. Let me join. Dude, please, because God damn it, I would love to be rich. I would love to destroy my enemies. I don't have many, but you know.
And the lamentation of the women. And
please,
all that stuff,
Conan, what is best in life? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of the women. Yes, I would love to live in that world. Please let me. I would love to be a card-carrying member of whatever conspiracy, cabal, make me rich. I am tired of not being able to get my projects made. How many meetings do I have to have in my life? Oh my God. I just want to make a movie that, that makes me a lot of money. I will sell my soul. I'm saying it right now on YouTube. You know what's fucking metal? Satan is fucking metal. God damn it. Lucifer, where are you? Please take my soul. I want to give it to you. I will just make me rich.
At least he's bringing it back, guys.
And give me what I want. Why is every day a struggle? I want to sell my soul to goddamn old Scratch. I'll do it right now. You know what? I don't have a fiddle, and I'm not playing it hot.
Yeah, we're not playing your fiddle. That's not metal. Your fiddle is not metal. Let's bring.
By the way, apparently, I'm waiting.
No,
Dave.
See, this is what happens, guy, when he's sober and does this.
No.
I think
no.
Wait, everyone in the chat right now, who thinks Rob should do a birthday shot? One final birthday shot before the end of the show.
I don't even have a shot. I don't have an.
You don't have any left? You drank it?
No,
all?
I have it.
You have a bottle of Jameson's. I saw you.
I do. Yes.
All right, then you could do a shot. Who wants him to do a shot? Like, come on.
Well, I could do a swig.
No, fine.
Do a swig. What are you trying to achieve here, Dave?
Trying to get this back to the fun, the metal about the movies and the music right now. We have to. I'm
dude.
Trying to
all you have to do is pick up the goddamn silver sphere. And
we got a lot of requests for shots.
You want to change this? Watch this. You want to see what's metal?
Now take a big pull of the Jamesons for the folks.
All right, for the folks at home, Andre, you might want to disassociate yourself from me when I do this. Just hang on.
I'll never disassociate myself from you, so don't worry about it.
Oh my god! All right, here it comes. Here it comes. You really?
This is for you.
3
fingers, pal. 3 fingers.
Look. Like, it's not like this is hard for me. Hang on.
You guys remember Chris Holmes in the middle years? Kind of like that. There you go. Whoo!
Smooth. God damn! By the way, I just think I just torpedoed any chance I could work at, say, a corporation like Disney or Warner Media.
Well, you think you had a chance to begin with?
Yeah, you know what's great? What would be fantastic is if the HR department's like, "Oh, Mr. Burnett, we've looked at your CV, your curriculum vitae, and now we're going to check into your social media. Is there anything we should know about you that we shouldn't?" And I'm like, "Well, I did a Freddie Mercury action figure thing with a giant big cock."
Actually,
maybe
a very small one, proportionately.
Well, yeah. I mean, can you imagine? I actually want to apply to a corporate job just to document what it's like, just to see what they would do. And I would love to see like the HR person going, "Well, Mr. Burnett, we've looked into your social media presence, and like your credit, we can't approve you to work for our company." So I'd love to see that. Yeah. By the way, wow.
Unfortunately, here's the thing, though. Just look at all the other crazy people they already have working for them, though. When you look at the social media of some of the people that are within the larger Disney umbrella, I mean, some of the meanest, cruelest people.
I know, right? I mean, it's like apparently Disney villains actually work at Disney.
Yeah, who would have thought?
So, now I'm curious, Andre.
Yes,
you're in Norway.
Yes.
What kind of music do you listen to?
Actually, I like my metal. I do.
All right.
Fuck yeah, you do.
Good. Yeah. God, I was getting worried.
But and I do like me some symphonic Norwegian power metal and also Italian symphonic power metal.
Really? Okay,
one of my favorites is Rhapsody.
Rhapsody.
Well, I had a great pleasure. Like they're gone now, but I had the great pleasure of seeing them in concert. One of my favorite Norwegian metal bands is Tristania, because they have like the black metal with a symphonic component to it, and that makes it really cool to me. I'm also a big fan of Burknagar. They're like the closest thing. I'm happy to send you some links afterwards.
I'd love that.
Fuck yeah, we'll put them in the chat. You know what? We should just make
Burknagar freaking rules.
Okay, Andre. Heilung. Have you heard them?
I have not.
You need to.
Yeah, but I'll take up that recommendation.
You
but beyond that, Yeah, but beyond that, I generally like, for instance, the more traditional Norwegian black death metal, like Dimmu Borgir and stuff like that. I'm
Yep.
generally not a huge fan of that. That's like, I don't like that more vocal unless it's contrasted by a female vocal.
Sure.
That's kind of like what I like with, for instance, Tristania. They have 3 vocals. They have like that, the Dimmu Borgir kind of vocal. Plus they have a more symphonic power vocal, and they have a beautiful female vocal to contrast all of that.
That's
so I
awesome.
like those. But
Nice.
when it's just typical Dimmu Borgir and mayhem, that's not for me. I do like my more like industrial metal though. So like Rammstein, that's like my all-time favorite.
Rammstein's
great. I've seen them live 6 times, and actually that way I have another recommendation for what is possibly my favorite Norwegian band, Stål. They started out as a Rammstein cover band, singing Rammstein songs in Norwegian, and then they went their own direction and they did an album with completely original songs in Norwegian in the general style of Rammstein, and it's amazing. I'll hook you up with that.
Dude, that is fucking
awesome.
Metal. This is what this show is all about.
So Rob, this week, I told you this earlier. I told you on Thursday when we were talking and stuff like that. So I discovered a new band that I've actually been checking out this week, and that I really like. They actually have music videos, which is really they're from Switzerland, and they're called Chaosium. And they are very cool. They have,
what a cool name.
Yeah, Chaosium. They describe themselves as a new, meaning NU metal or metalcore band.
Right.
Really, really good shit. I'm really into what they're doing, and they started out with a female singer, and then they switched over and got a male singer. Now, if people like that stuff, it's very Korn-esque sounding. You could hear some of their songs and go, oh, that could have been on the Queen of the Damned soundtrack easily.
I have to say, I didn't mean to interrupt. Anthony Choice said in the comment, any Laibach fans? I'm a huge Laibach fan, and I've had the honor of being in a concert with Laibach, I think 3 times.
Ooh.
And that actually reminds me, Rob, you made the comment earlier, like a man of wealth and taste. And I made a mental note right there. You have to check out Laibach's cover of Sympathy of the Devil.
My God. You know
it's
what?
One of the covers that is better than the original.
Now, wait, hang on, Andre.
It's not fine. It's different.
Okay.
And the Richard asked if I knew of Apollotica. Yes, I have.
Yes.
Wow, there's an actual music video for Live Act Sympathy for the Devil.
That's awesome.
Let me hang on. I'm going to put this in the chat, Andre.
Cool.
Because this is dope as shit. Let me just put this in the chat. This is Live Act's version of Sympathy for.
Oh, you've heard it before?
No, I just found it. I'm just putting it in the live chat.
And I'm
so they can hear it.
I'm going to jump.
Very, very cool.
I gotta jump for a second. Awesome. I will be back, and then I'll put in the link, or send you the link for the band that I was just talking about.
Okay, come back, because I have to jump so bad, because I'm going to touch myself and feel water. I'm going to feel water course through my urethra.
Don't make me laugh.
Fucking right now, God, man. I know.
We're doing the same thing, so I'll be back to relieve you after.
Come by. Stephen Otten sends in a super chat and says, Andre and I showed up at the same time. What are the odds? 4 a.m. here. Well, Stephen, if you're up at 4 a.m., I can only say you, my friend, are fucking metal. Andre, what time did you get up this morning?
I got up around 9 because I was up quite late last night finishing up a script for an upcoming video.
Well, nice. Well done. Now, let me ask you, can I ask about Midnight's Edge?
Sure, go for it.
I mean, I have to say, one of my favorite channels before I was even doing my own YouTube channel was Midnight's Edge. I mean, I didn't know Rob. I knew his voice, and I knew your voice, and I loved that Midnight's Edge as a channel was your videos were produced. You were editing, you're doing great content and all this. Why did you start the channel? What was it you wanted to achieve? And I only ask because I don't have an answer to this question. People always ask me, like, what is it you wanted to achieve? And I'm like, well, you know, I when I started on YouTube in 2015, I was on other people's shows. Like, I was a guest, Collider Heroes. We did hundreds and hundreds of episodes. But
that's how I discovered you.
Yeah, and I but people ask me, like, well, I just kind of fell into it. But Midnight's Edge, what I've loved about your channel is that from when I discovered it, it was always designed. You know, you weren't just people like, I'm going live now. I watch Midnight's Edge videos. They were produced. You know, there was editorial involved, and there was so how did that come about? What is the secret origin of the Midnight's Edge YouTube channel?
Well, there's two things that happened at the same time. It's a rather long story. It's been told in extensive detail to Midnight's Edge channel members, because there we go through the whole behind-the-scenes story of Midnight's Edge.
Well, shit, I don't know. I got to join your channel.
Yeah, but the very brief version is that those two things were one. Is the thing that had to do with me particularly, and that is that I was feeling unrealized because unlike many of people,
that's a great.
In YouTube,
by the way, can I just stop you right there? Can you please elaborate on that? You were feeling unrealized. That is an unbelievable term. I love that idea, and I think many people, that might be the great staple of the modern age, and you just nailed it. I think many people are feeling unrealized.
Yes, that's exactly right, because my background is in finance, and my life was actually pretty good. I had a swell apartment in the dead center of Oslo. I was in a stable,
very expensive city.
Very expensive city, yes. And I had a good career going in finance. Was in a relationship, all of those things. So everything was pretty good, but I felt unrealized.
God, I love that. Oh my God, dude!
Because I had this hobby and this interest in film production, and this came from my love of genre culture in general. So I had been a keyboard warrior on the IMDb at this point for more than a decade already. Before I would read the Financial Times and the Economist, I would read the Hollywood Reporter and Variety and comicbookmovie.com and /film and Collider. I would read all of these things first. I would watch this was before Collider, so I would be watching John Campea on AMC every single day. He was a huge inspiration. So yeah, those things. This is what I would watch of my own free will. This is kind of like, this is where my passion lies. This is my job. I'm not realized. I don't get to be part of the conversation. And at the same time, you had all of these social media. You had all of this new celebrities in the influencers, Twitter sphere and Instagram. And I felt I'm not part of the conversation. I'm like, I'm getting old.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Rob has to.
I have to pee so bad. Yeah. Keep going, because this is amazing. Keep going.
We'll keep this going.
Keep going. Keep going.
We got you, Rob. We got you, Rob.
Yeah, go for it. So no, basically, I didn't feel realized in that way, that my passion wasn't what I was doing. I was wasting a ton of time on my passion. I was a keyboard warrior. I was writing walls and walls of text on the IMDb and a couple of other forums to the delight of like tens or hundreds of people, and they would all disappear back there. And I would write the same posts of the text again, and again, and again, And then you had like frustration with like movie projects, getting newcomers that came in, like, what's this project? What's going on? And repeating the same argument over and over. And I was like thinking, if only there was a YouTube channel that I could just like link to that goes through all of this information. Like just something really short that just goes through everything. Because yeah, of course, you have your AMCs and other like things, but also I found that they, more often than not, they kind of like just regurgitated the industry narrative. So they just did. It was often their own take, but there was a little bit too much of, well, this is critical, this isn't too great, but you should still definitely check it out. We like this cast, we like this director, like a little bit like enthusiasm that I felt wasn't warranted when things were going way, way off the ground. Of course, I was doing this for months and years without even thinking of starting a YouTube channel myself. Like that thought hadn't like even occurred to me.
Right.
But it all kind of like coalesced at the same time at one point when I decided that, hey, you know what? I can actually start a YouTube channel myself. And everything with the presentation and all of that, that came from that before I do something. I don't go sit down and I start streaming. No, I want to think it through. Like, if we're going to do this, I don't have much time as it is. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to do it right the first time around. So I did my research, just came up with a strategy, partnered up with a friend in the US, because I knew I can't do this alone. I can think it through. I can come up with a strategy. I can come up with plans, talking points, ideas for presentation. But I don't have the know-how to do it myself, and I'm stuck with an accent. So I was like thinking at the time, what the hell is anyone going to talk to me? I barely speak, or listen to me. I barely speak English. I need to partner up with an American or a Canadian to like do documentaries and to engage in conversations with and everything. And I partnered up with the perfect guy for the job, Kevin, whom I started Midnight's Edge with.
That's awesome.
So I reached out to him. I told him my ideas, and then he gave me some feedback from which those ideas could be refined even more. So then the initial plan was actually to focus more on the darker side of comics, because I knew, like, to start, we have to go into a niche. We have to find a niche that no one is really doing. And no one is really doing something that's devoted to, Conan, The Punisher, Vertigo comics, stuff like that. So we'll start with that, and then we'll sprinkle it in with, like, the big movies and stuff on the side. And then the Fantastic Four happened. And it was so much rumors and everything going on like that. And no one was covering it. No one. Not one single channel on YouTube at the time covered the behind-the-scenes drama of that. Not one. And this frustrated me to no end. So then I wrote like a really, really short mini documentary going through all of the bullet points and everything that basically the keyboard warriors on the IMDb could just like link to. Here's what's really going on. This is why you maybe shouldn't be so excited for this movie. It's made for all the wrong reasons. And if you want to see it and you want to support it, by all means do. But if you do, you should know what you vote for. Be informed of what this is. And be aware that every single time you choose to support or not support something, you actually vote with your wallet. So be aware of what you're voting for, and so that you can be aware of that. This is what's going on.
That's true. And, the thing is, you want to talk about Fantastic Four and metal? The fucking Roger Corman Fantastic
That's
Four.
metal. That's metal.
It is fucking metal. It is metal.
Because they fucking made this scrappy little thing for like $1 million. And you know what? It's still, as flawed as it is, it's still better than the three that they have made.
Yeah.
So far. Rob, we should read some of the super chats that you got.
Okay, hang on.
I promised Cardinal Sin that we would, so I'm telling
you.
All
right, well, hang on. Stephen Otten says Mandy is the perfect midnight movie? Is it?
I would say Rocky Horror is the perfect midnight
Well,
movie.
I mean,
no, I gotta know. Look, you're gonna throw down the perfect midnight movie.
I'm not gonna throw down. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna give it to the king.
All right.
Or more appropriately, I'm gonna give it to the queen.
I submit another perfect midnight movie. Ginger Snaps.
No, not a midnight movie.
Come on. Wait.
Well, it was to me.
No, Pink Flamingos, midnight movie. Ginger Snaps, that's an anytime movie. It is. Basket Case is more of a midnight movie than Ginger Snaps.
Well, I would hang on, Dave. I would say that Ginger Snaps and it's more modern. I mean, the midnight Rocky Horror is great, but it's from the fucking mid-70s, bruh.
But Ginger Snaps does not have the aesthetics of a midnight movie if you're going that way. And I think
Vodio Do. Way to cancel.
I know. Hey, I'm just saying.
I mean, our friend from another country. I think what's really interesting is we have to take into consideration various places in the world have different ideas about what is a midnight movie.
This is very true, because like at least where I'm from, the aesthetics of that is very much midnight aesthetics.
Interesting.
But again, they're
fucking metal, dude. And if you know what, if someone from Norway, someone that I respect, if he says
no,
and by the way, I'm not going to suck his dick just because he's here. I'm saying that if he. But I think Andre has an interesting point that he's coming at. Like, I think
Ginger's so pale. It's specifically because it's so pale. That's what makes it like the Twilight. You have like the extremes and everything. At least where I'm from, it's that paleness that makes it midnight.
See, I mean,
I respectfully disagree.
And then, of course,
Ginger Snaps is not a midnight
movie. You're free to disagree.
But here's what I would say though. Like, Andre, I've defended you about this, but I'm gonna weigh in. I don't think Dave is necessarily wrong, because I think that a midnight movie should be once in a generation. You know, it's.
Well, I don't agree with that either.
Well, fuck
because
you. Fuck you.
What, you think it's your fucking birthday now? It's not.
Fuck, it's not. I know, it's one day later. But what I mean is, look, allow me to just finish just for a second. I think that look, there's 1,000 movies you could say are midnight movies. But what you were bringing up, Rocky Horror is a flashpoint, a generational moment. It was something that happened that, by the way, is still happening.
It's a cross-generational. That's why it's the peak.
And it also deals with sexuality, transgenderism, outsiders. I mean, it is a film that is very transgressive. And here's the thing. Just because you made some horror movie or genre movie that plays at midnight does not mean it's a midnight movie. And I will grant you, the Rocky Horror Picture Show was, and always will be, perhaps the uncontested GOAT. You know, greatest of all time. You can't
exactly,
and there's a reason for it. And it's funny, people will roll up. What I find, like the AFI list of the 100 greatest films, there are people like, I don't understand. Like, Citizen Kane isn't that great, and I'm like, okay, you can say that, okay, it's fine, and I don't disagree with you or whatever, but you're uninformed. You know, your opinion is like, you're looking at your opinion from your perspective now. And what I think people need to start to learn to do is, your opinions are great, and I'm not saying they're wrong, but unless you have historical context, or unless you have a scholarly understanding of whatever, when you're going to start commenting on the greatest movies of all time, please allow the people who've thought about this for a lot longer than you have. Defer to their opinion.
Also, I would like to add that if you were to say that Citizen Kane should not be in the conversation of best films of all time, then I want to hear, okay, if you're of that opinion, that this is fine, you don't have to like it, but then please submit 5 others that you think should be in the conversation.
Yes, sir.
Because it would be very interesting to hear, where are you coming from? What's your point of reference for having that opinion?
Yep.
What? All right. So, Rob, what else we got? Chat wise.
Well, Mass Hussein sends in a very generous super chat. Says, metal greetings to you, Rob and Dave. I recently watched the French extreme. Oh my God, I love this. Hang on.
Here we go.
Okay. I recently watched the French extreme horror movie Martyrs for the first time, and it blew me away. One of the most metal movies I have ever seen. Now, let me just weigh in for a second here. So, Martyrs was a movie that I heard about, and people talked about what it was. I had read extensive interviews with the filmmaker in Fangoria. I had read reviews of the movie. With all of that knowledge, I still didn't know what the movie was about.
Right.
I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, okay, so what is this movie about? What is Martyrs about? And I've heard people talk about it. I'd read articles, people were talking about the plot, and I'm still like, what the fuck? What is this movie about? Finally, I get the movie. I get it on physical media. I sit down, I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch Martyrs. It's going to be not to be full of hyperbole, but I have to say that watching Martyrs was one of the most singularly amazing or affecting or surprising or jaw-dropping moments in my life. It was before I met Elizabeth, so I was in my old place where my home theater system was in my garage, and I literally got Martyrs, bought it, I put it on, and I'm watching. I'm like, okay. And about, I want to say 20 minutes in, my fucking jaw hit the floor. I was like, holy shit. And 5 minutes later, I'm like,
yeah, it kind of, the jaw hits the floor and kind of stays there till the end.
I was so blown away by Martyrs. And by the way, Martyrs is a goddamn masterpiece. It is a hard watch. I don't know if it's entertaining. I was blown away by it. I can't stress enough how much it affected me when I was watching. Just because I'm like, I can't believe I am watching this. And by the end of the movie, I was moved. At first I was like, holy shit. But by the end of the film, and again, the movie's, it's fucked up what happens at the end. I'm like, wow. But it was amazing. And I have to say, like you, it is fucking one of the most metal horror films I've ever seen. By the way, do not watch the American remake, please.
Yeah, no.
Don't.
Yeah, but it's funny
seen
when
the remake, would give it considered. I have to say, I agree with you. I don't think that there has ever been a movie where I'm not going to use the term moved, because that's the wrong phrase to use, but a movie that affected me as much while watching it as Martyrs. I don't think I've ever been like I physically felt it in my body watching that movie.
Yes.
I have never been, again, freaked out is the wrong word to use.
Yeah, but you were though.
I've ever seen a more terrifying ending of any movie ever, because to me that ending was terrifying.
But it was existentially terrifying.
It was, yes.
But it's funny because when I watched the movie, and much like you, Rob, I got the DVD, which was the only thing available at the time and everything. And I watched the movie, and I'm sitting there, and I'm really into it. And then there comes that point, which is about a 20-minute stretch of the movie, and I'm like, "Fuck this movie! fuck this movie right in its fucking ass. This is piece of shit. This thing makes no. It's like this is the whole thing that this movie's been leading up to is this fucking 20 minutes, and then it gets on the other side of that, and it gets to the philosophy of it, and I'm like, oh. I agree with these people, and that's what terrified me more than anything,
dude. I know
that I was like, you know what? If I had the money, I would want to know this as well. And the fact that they went through this in this way, what I think the power of Martyrs is, if you get on the other side of a section of it, and you look at it, and you go, okay, I understand. That's what's terrifying. The fact that you can kind of condone what they're doing, what's happening in the movie, and it really is it's sort of a gut punch. And to you personally, what you were saying, on that level, and I was like, yeah, this movie is kind of brilliant because of that. If it had not landed that ending, I think it would have been a piece of shit. Ultimately.
No, right, yeah, but
the ending is really what makes the whole thing.
Well, I have to say that, like, first of all, when you watch a movie, we're conditioned to think stories are going to unfold a certain way, and when you're watching Martyrs, it drops you into the action. You're like,
yeah,
oh my God, this young girl has escaped this horrible situation, and you think, okay, where this movie's going. You don't.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing. You can never predict where the fuck this thing is going.
No, and it there's a long protracted scene 20 minutes into the movie that you think even when it starts out and you realize what's happening, you're like, holy shit, but then it goes someplace. I was just like, what was amazing about this film, and by the way, people are gonna be like, this is not that good. It's a movie that requires you bring in your intellectual acumen to the film, and I'm not saying
it demands something of you. If you just sit and passively watch, you're not going to get anything out of it.
Right? No, you have to be honest with yourself, and
you have to engage
how you would really react and with what it proposes. Do you agree with it or not agree with it? And that's the dividing line.
Well, I think that's what's so great about the film is, on one hand, you can watch it as a visceral experience, and you watch it as a murder mystery or a whatever
revenge film. It's so many things.
So many things, and what's amazing is the first 30 minutes take you through many different film genres, and you think you're like, oh, I've got a handle on this now.
Yeah,
no, you don't.
You don't.
And then when it finally, the thing unfolds, it leaves the audience with I was in an existential crisis when I.
It's funny. I just saw Stephen Otten. Sorry, if I'm mispronouncing your name. He just goes, "Martyrs wrecked me. I didn't watch it. I survived." And it's like, yeah, you're right. You're right. What else do we got? We gotta start wrapping this up. What other super chats we got?
S Beam says Conan is very metal. Yes, S Beam,
as metal as it gets.
And by the way, can I just say, S Beam has been making action figures of me and John Campia. But have you seen Gary Nerdrotics, and have you seen Az's action figures? My God, genius. Anyway, just wanted to say it. Cardinal Sin sends in a super chat and says, Andre, RMB, Dave, have you seen Clive Barker's Saint Sinner? I've seen the comics.
Oh yeah, I saw the movie. Movie. It was really it was a TV movie. I think I might be wrong. It may have been.
I haven't seen it.
It may have been
actually one of the very few Clive Barker adaptations I have not seen.
I liked it. It was pretty cool. I haven't seen it in a long time. I know it was a TV thing. It was like a cable TV. Like I think
it was like a made-for-TV movie or something like that.
Mm-hmm. But I thought it was actually pretty cool. It was and Saint Sinner was one of his Marvel comics.
Yeah,
I
it was
think,
one.
that he
Yeah, it
did
was one of the Marvel
at
comics.
that time.
The Power Line comics.
Yes, yeah. So
Which I have.
I actually dug that.
Ed Rojas sends in a super chat and says, "Love the show, so effing metal, and you're to blame, Rob." Okay, you know what I told my ex-wife? I said, "Honey, I just assume that everything that happens wrong in our relationship is my fault, so just blame me." Now that we know that, let's move ahead. But anyway, so Ed Rojas says, "I took a look at this store, and lo and behold, I ended up ordering the Grail Diary Deluxe version." That means Ed Rojas
Fuck yeah.
looked at Cal's, looked at Swack Props's. Let me just tell you, I know what he does. I mean, it seems expensive. The work he gives you is exquisite. It is amazing, worth
Rob,
every penny.
I think we should just make a commercial for Swag Props.
I know. I'm thinking about that.
You can play. We would like beautifully film some of the props that you have and stuff like that, and just make a little ad, little commercial that you can play during your show.
Okay, Dave, I think that's a great idea, but you know what? El Necron sends in a super chat a question that I think, Andre, I don't know if you've seen these movies, but Dave and I think this might be the greatest question ever, Dave.
Sweet.
Humanoids from the deep or Chud? Bruh, there's one answer, and my answer is humanoids from the fucking deep. There is no question. James Horner score. I mean, come on. I mean, Chad.
I love Chud. I love
Chud, but they become Chads at the end.
But the carnage, the raw sexual power of the humanoids from the deep, and the carnage, and the blood, and the best alien ripoff section right at the very end of the movie, it gives it so much more of an edge.
Dude, when a giant tadpole mutated aqua alien rapes a woman in a bed of kelp, and
they're mutated salmon.
Pardon me, but she gives birth to their progeny. I mean, and he bursts through her. He tears through her stomach, and it's so awesome. And I'm like, I just want to say that I actually have a Humanoids from the Deep steelbook.
This was a tadpole, because I am not familiar with the movie, so I know of it, but I haven't seen it, so I have to do that now. But you said it was a tadpole that did this, right?
No,
a giant tadpole,
a giant tadpole, salmon, a giant mutated salmon.
Oh,
I mean, by the way,
it's awesome.
No, because because when you said the tadpole, you know what's really metal? It's the Norwegian name for a tadpole. If you take the name for a tadpole, like the frog in its larval stage, and you translate that to Norwegian, and then you translate the Norwegian phrase, the Norwegian name for a tadpole, back into English. That's what they should have used for the movie. Astral.
That is amazing.
That is literally what we
Can
call
you say
tadpoles.
that one more time?
Because the Norwegian name for a tadpole is rumpetroll, and that is literally astral.
Oh my god!
Astral.
You know what? That full moon should make that movie.
People would be expecting a very different type of movie with that title. And I'll say this is not to and again, guys, I just want you to know, for me personally, it's not to take away from Chud. I love Chud. But Humanoids from the Deep is better.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
Humanoids from the Deep is better.
If you guys don't...
It delivers.
Oh my god. Humanoids from the Deep is so good. And Doug McClure's in it, which makes it even better. Anthony Kiedis. Anthony Kiedis says, would you consider the Red Hot Chili Peppers metal?
Boy, they're a little bit of they're a little bit of fucking everything.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
I would say
they're funk.
Yeah, I agree. Funk is the best
They're
word
funk.
for it.
They're metal. They're alternative. There's rap in there. There's so much different shit in there.
What the album Uplift Mofo Party Plan?
Oh my
Like
god!
I love that album. That was way before Under the Bridge or
They're
Danny
punk.
California.
I mean, yeah, they're punk. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, hang on.
I don't believe that's Anthony Kiedis, by the way, asking us that.
No,
question.
it's not. It's not him. But I just want to say,
Too bad.
Let's face it. Anthony Kiedis was in Point Break, directed by Catherine Bigelow. How much more metal? How much more metal can you be? You're in fucking Point fucking Break. Fuck yeah, that's the most metal shit ever. Anthony Kiedis did that. So anyway, DL sends in a super chat and says, "Happy belated birthday to you, you metal motherfucker." Well, thank you. And he spells fucker Foka with 4 exclamation points. So, well, fucker, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Tim Possible sends in a super chat and says, "Rylos are weird, but hit me up though." So, pardon me. I shouldn't say Rylos. It's Raylos.
Yeah.
Okay, Raylos. Why Raylos.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, Raylos are. First of all, who cares? To be honest, I mean Ray and Kylo Ren, two of the most underdeveloped, badly portrayed. And by the way, I still want to buy Hot Toys figures of them, but my God, Adam Driver, can you imagine? He's a former military, U.S. military, and can you imagine he's in? By the way, I don't want to shatter your bubble. I mean, I don't, but when your Raylos are weird, but hit me up though. That's what you said, Tim. Raylos are weird because I don't even know why anyone talks about the sequel trilogy at all. It has nothing to say to humanity or you or anyone. And in a world.
Rob, you know what I would like? What I would love to be able to make and cast Adam Driver in?
Everything else but Star Wars movie?
No, I want to cast him as Ichabod Crane.
He'd be awesome as that. That's great.
That's
freaking casting.
fucking great. Okay.
That's metal.
Why don't you make that movie, Dave? Write the script.
I would like to. So, yeah.
You know what's funny? That's a 1-sentence pitch that should be bought in the room.
If you're out there, guys, I'm available. Cardinal Sin's right. Adam Driver is great in pretty much everything else besides Star Wars movies, including Black Klansman, which I fucking
my God, he's so good.
That movie is so fucking great. He's a great actor. He's a great actor.
He's great in the Star Wars movies too. He's just given nothing to play. I can only imagine Kylo Ren's like, how do you want me to play this? Like, where am I going? The Saturday Night Live sketch when
oh my God,
that's so the best Star Wars that's come out in the last 20 years.
The undercover boss. Yeah, it is. Moving on. I just want to say, so we're going to move on. I'm going to keep you honest so you can get to bed earlier tonight. The Richard did ask, what's my favorite bloodiest, goriest, cheesiest fucking movie that I like? I think I have to go right now. I'm feeling Jackie Kong's Blood Diner.
Dude, oh my God. You know, can I just say that I was at the Seattle International Film Festival while she did Q&A after watching Blood Diner.
It's a hoot. That movie is a hoot.
Oh,
and one of the leads, Carl Crew, owns this place called CIA in North Hollywood, which is this pretty cool club that is around that. You get cool local bands and stuff like that in. So yeah, I would say Blood Diner. That is a midnight movie.
All right. Okay. So Steve K sends in tip, says people just need to grow the fuck up and deal with shit.
I'm trying.
The real world isn't fair. The real world is cruel. The real world doesn't give you participation awards. Grow the fuck up. I have to say, Steve, If you've ever seen Alex Proyas' movie Knowing, spoiler alert, it's about a solar flare that destroys the world. Hang on, I have a hiccup.
I need something more to drink.
I know, right?
That's another great movie.
Who wants Rob to take another shot to get rid of his hiccups?
No, it's fine. I'm just saying that your answer is good, but the fact is the universe is indifferent to your suffering, doesn't care. And, I agree with you. But you know what's great about life? Life. Your existence, your time on this planet should matter to you. No one else. Fuck anyone who tells you what you should do or what you shouldn't do or what you feel like. Fuck that. If you're alive here on this planet, the thermodynamic miracle of life, that's what Dr. Manhattan said. That's why he saved humanity in The Watchmen, is Rob, because every person is unique. There's no one else like you. You've got a finite amount of time. Enjoy it.
Are you saying that life is worth living?
Fuck yeah, it is.
There you go. And you know what? What's the worst that's going to happen? You'll be here on a fucking Sunday morning, Saturday night, listening to Rob get pontificate about metal. That's not so bad.
Are you?
That's pretty damn good. No, I'm saying that's pretty fucking good. I'm saying that's pretty fucking good. If that's
I would say we have Andre from Norway, Midnight's Edge.
No, it's awesome.
And by the way, Andre, cogent, good thinker. He's like
way better than we are. Way better than we are.
Oh no, you give me too much credit, gentlemen.
He's way more cogent than we are. Absolutely.
No, let me ask you this, Andre. Existentially, are you positive or negative? Do you feel the future of humanity is one we can all get behind?
It's a matter of how far into the future you go. I think that long term, the future is a positive one and one that we can get behind. But that's a little bit long term. I think that right now it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
And we have to brace ourselves for that.
It's always darkest before the dawn.
Yes, exactly. And that, incidentally, is one of perhaps my all-time favorite expression. And I owe it to the great poet Johnny Cash. I heard that in one of my favorite country western songs, which is "The Devil Comes Back to Georgia." Yep. Not the original one, but the sequel. Right. That's where I heard that expression. And that's the thing that really stuck out to me with that whole song. It's like, whoa, that's good. The darkest hour comes just before the dawn. That is so good. And it just gives me much comfort in many times.
Nice.
What's
the next one?
And again, Andre will correct me, but Terrier, Tiberius Mork.
Well, that's good.
Dave rewatched The Hills Run Red the other night. That movie is rad. Sophie Monk, so hot, and Babyface is really memorable.
Terry, you fucking rock. You're so fucking metal. Thank you. That's really awesome.
Yeah,
and you're 100% right. Sophie Monk is really hot.
She's really hot.
And Babyface is really cool.
Yeah, but you know what's funny?
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you for watching that again. I really appreciate it. That's fucking awesome.
Andre?
Man.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say about Terje. Yeah, he also pointed out something else metal, because when I said before that the Norwegian word for tadpole is astral, he pointed out something else cool as well, like the Norwegian name for a dragonfly. And that's a metal name in English as it is, but it's even more metal in Norwegian. Eye stabber.
That is the most metal shit ever. Oh my god.
That's awesome.
That's incredible. Wow. Say that one more time.
Eye stabber.
Eye stabber.
Yeah.
Eye stabber. Like
Wow,
something
okay.
stabs you in the eye. That's the name for a dragonfly in Norwegian.
That's what she said. That's amazing. Amazing.
I don't know. All I know is now I'm a huge Terrier fan. That's it. That's it.
Terrier. I mean, he's the best. He's
literally, I'm just like huge, big fan here.
You should see his TV too. His home theater setup is most impressive.
Oh.
Ash Chauhan, Ash, a foundational member of this community. Ash says, Twitter's success is based on digitizing the high school quad experience. Whatever juvenile debates, fights, cliques, and in-jokes were in that quad are now presented in 280 characters or less. We grow out of it, the high school experience, but oh wait, not anymore.
No. The internet has perpetually put everyone back into high school.
Yeah, I think Ash is absolutely correct.
Yeah. But we could talk about that all night.
The real question is why? You know, we have the greatest communication technology ever. And I would have thought, like, for me, I like to watch YouTube and watch discourse. Like Joe Rogan, he has someone on for 3 hours, and if you watch it, you feel like, oh, I know that person. I feel I've learned something.
But you really
on the other hand, well, no, I do because I look,
you watch it, but you don't really 3 hours. You don't really know a person.
No, but I've certainly learned something. I can infer like what kind of a person
why,
they are.
But back to your point, why is the internet become high school all over again? Because ultimately people are petty, Rob, and they're looking to transfer their anger at themselves onto other people. The fact that they're not doing. They're lazy. They're not fulfilling their dreams or anything like that. They're settling and everything else. So this is it's an anonymous way for them to be able to get their frustration out onto someone else and project it onto someone else instead of that. So there.
Yeah, but I would say this. I mean, at the end of the day, all of this punditry space we exist in, Andre can speak to this. We're all fans. Like at the end all be all of all of this is we love science fiction, fantasy, and horror. We all love it, and we've all seen what great examples of it are. Whether it's RoboCop, whether it's Back to the Future, whether it's Alien or Star Wars or Superman the movie, we've seen good things that we love.
Sure.
And the question that we ask ourselves now, and Midnight's Edge has done a good job of this. The question that's asked is, why is this stuff not good? Why isn't it good? And we've already been given so much good stuff. Like, you can look at it and go, well, these Superman the movie, Alien, Back to the Future, I mean, Summer of '82, Conan the Barbarian, E.T., Star Trek The Wrath of Khan, Poltergeist, Road Warrior.
Dread, to name a recent example.
Yeah, but this is like a debate that goes on and on.
I know.
It's like we're not going to find the answer tonight on this. I'm keeping you on track, Rob. It's getting late. What's the other super chats we got? We gotta get through.
You are a task.
I'm a taskmaster
producer. Tonight. I have to say,
I'm keeping them on track tonight because we aren't going 5 hours, guys. I'm
okay,
sorry.
Just Plain Steve says politics are not very metal.
And we move on. We agree. We're moving on.
Wait, come on now. I mean, yes, that's true. But you know what? Let me just say, I hate it when people say, I don't like when you talk about politics. Captain America was designed to fight Nazis. His inception was inherently political. So I understand what people really are saying is like, I don't want you to tell me about politics that I don't believe in, which I get it. I understand. But really, at the end of the day, politics is at the very heart of storytelling. So put aside your personal views and talk about stories in general. Don't make them about that's that I would say.
But I think the other thing is, I think what they mean is also when it gets to a certain time of day, they don't want to talk about it. Even though we've had really great discussions about a lot of, like, the nice thing about this show, what I really like about it is,
is it fucking metal, dude? It's fucking metal, bro.
It is fucking metal, and we talk about things that are not just metal, but we talk about really interesting things, and we get into some really interesting topics that, you know, I normally don't get to talk about, and it's like thanks to, you know, we do. So, but we're moving on. Next one. What's next?
Jesus Christ. We got Andre here. I was about to talk about how much I hate Star Trek Discovery. For fuck's sake. I'm just saying.
Guys,
I get it.
Rob can do that if he wants to, but I'll be signing off.
Okay, well, hang on. I know we're going to go 3 hours now. I get it. We're over time.
Yeah, this
Cardinal
is not
Sin says,
observations.
Have you ever heard Psychic Corporation, guys?
No.
I know.
I'm writing it down.
I've heard Psychic TV, but haven't heard that.
I'm writing it down right now.
I love that. Robo Q-Man sends in a super chat and says, "Happy birthday again to you, RMB. Also, sadly, we lost Ronnie James Dio back in 2010 on this very day." Oh my God. Well, let me just raise my fingers to Ronnie James Dio.
The man who created this, by the way.
Yeah.
Gene Simmons likes to take credit, but Ronnie James Dio did.
No, it is all about Ronnie.
The metal sign is all about Ronnie James
Thank
Dio.
you for writing that in. That's very good.
That's awesome.
Dave Parker and Midnight Metal and Dio forever. I would also ask you to include Andre and Midnight's Edge into that.
And maybe Rob.
No, it's fine. I'm a neophyte. I'm new on this channel. Stephen Otten says, Martyrs wrecked me. I didn't watch it. I survived. Yes. Yeah, well, you should.
Yeah,
watch it.
You and all of us. I think anyone who watches Martyrs survives.
Yeah, totally. Swack Prop says, Rob, I know you want For All Mankind to be the prequel to Star Trek, but as season 2 shows, it actually takes place in the Tarantino-verse. Tracy Stevens appeared in K. Billy's Super Sounds of the 70s. I know. You're the only person who's brought that up.
With the monster truck, the Behemoth.
The Behemoth.
Very cool.
Behemoth.
If it would be part of the Tarantino verse, put
yeah,
that
well,
to there
it is.
Cody.
I mean, I love For All Mankind. The last 2 episodes of season 2, that shit was okay. We're doing a new show called What the Fuck We're Watching. Elizabeth and I have gone through Game of Thrones, and that's going to be our first episode. And my God, have I learned a lot about storytelling with Game of Thrones. But
that's great.
What's amazing is season 6, dude. The last 2 episodes of season 6 are fan-fucking-tastic. And they almost make up for the season 5 and season 6, the deficiencies, but not enough. However, the last episode of season 2 of For All Mankind is one of the greatest hours of television you will ever see. Oh, and it was all earned.
Rob, I have to say this. I just saw this in the chat. It's really interesting. R&B, and it's very metal also. And it's very true. R&B is running out of steam, like that Killdozer getting electrified.
Wow, dude. Nice Killdozer reference.
Killdozer.
I mean, by the way, that just came out. Warner Archive released Killdozer on Blu-ray. You can buy it.
Kino put it out.
Was it Kino?
Yeah, with a slip cover and everything.
Oh, well, shit. Did you get it?
Fuck yes,
man.
Metal. So
I need to get that shit. You know what? I saw that broadcast anyway. Well, okay. Make me look bad, but okay. I don't have it. Hang on. Swack Props, we're almost done. Says,
Yes.
Rob, I know you want For All Mankind to be the prequel.
You just
I
read
already
that
said
one.
that. Sorry,
Whoa.
Michael Elliott. I know I'm losing it. Michael Elliott sends in a super chat and says, riddle me this. Which character in The Wizard of Oz is metal?
Really?
Dude, you
Really?
think it's going to be the Tin Man, but you know who
It is. It is.
No.
The Tin Man.
It's the witch. It's the Wicked Witch.
No. The witch is power metal. The Tin Man is pure metal. Sorry. Just it is.
Andre?
The Tin Man has an axe. Metal.
I would say that that the one who's perhaps the most metal is the wizard himself, because he was a man of very limited ability and means that was able to go and become a king of using his own brains and sword and everything like that. So to me, wizard was the most metal.
But if
That's
you
a
know
fucking great answer, though.
But you know what? If you actually know the backstory of the Tin Man and how he became created, where the witch
That is metal. I will say
where
that.
he enchanted him
backstory is
to
metal.
chop off his own fucking limbs and body, that's metal.
Yeah,
it is metal.
It one by one. That is very
Yes.
metal. But he wasn't so. But after that was done, he was literally metal, but he wasn't figuratively metal. He wasn't.
He had no heart. He had no
metal
heart.
in
He
any
was
way
searching
that
for a heart.
mattered.
How do you get more metal than not having a heart?
Well, literally, probably no way. But he was trying to make. But he was trying to make himself less metal.
Yeah,
he was trying to make himself less metal, whereas the wizard, he was already metal. He had already conquered that kingdom, and then he went on to conquer himself a new kingdom.
I just saw Swag Prop said Toto is fucking metal. I think maybe we're all wrong here. And Toto,
well, because they did the prophecy theme for Dune.
No, not
oh wait,
the dog Toto.
Hang on,
the dog Toto.
I know. I was making a joke.
No, you were.
All right. Well, listen, guys, gentlemen,
we're wrapping it up.
This is the end. This
With
is
a bow.
the end.
Like in Dorothy's hair.
This show, this Midnight Metal stream, was created as a lark, as a joke, but it's become one of the most important things in my life. And I want to thank, first of all, the audience. I want to thank all of you who have made Midnight Metal what it is. By the way, Alex Abrams sends in a tip. Why do people like Alex Kurtzman and J.J. Abrams, why do people like them fail upwards? Between these two, the following franchises have been destroyed. Star Trek, Star Wars, Silence of the Lambs, The Mummy, Universal's Dark Universe, and now Superman and DC. Fucking why, Rob? Why?
You forgot Constantine. He's going to ruin Constantine too.
Oh, sweet. Awesome. Because they know how to play politics. That's why it happened. It's not right, but that's why it happens.
And what here's the funny thing. Once you've done something, from a corporate standpoint, it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad. You've just done it.
Making money. As long as it's making money.
Yeah, you've made it. So in Hollywood, it's like they don't know. Corporations don't know. They don't even quantify it. It's not even on their spreadsheet. But if you've made something and you've worked within the system and made it work, then we'll hire you. But listen, Michael Elliott sends in a super chat and says, Rob got it right. Well, I don't.
Oh, for the Wizard of Oz question.
Well, anyway.
So the witch is the most metal. You got it right. That's the.
I thank you. I appreciate that. But I want to say I too want to go to bed. It's 3:30 in the morning. I want to thank Andre. My God, what a legend to have on the show.
Really
Andre,
awesome to get to talk to you and meet you, sir.
Yeah, likewise. You have to come and join. Like Rob, you're always welcome on Midnight's Edge, and we have some hosting duties to you that will announce.
Well, yes, I mean you already sent me some things. I can't even say what they are, but I'm like, oh my God.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And Dave, we have to have you come on and talk about your career with Moon. So that would be awesome to have you on at some point as well.
No, it'd be amazing.
And
I want to thank Andre and also, of course, my compatriot Dave Parker, who I've known for the better part of 30 years. And,
Oh my God.
we're all fucking metal. But to have Andre and Dave together on a show is my honor to round out my birthday day and another twirl around the sun. My God. And most of all, I want to thank our viewers that I don't know why, but this show, Midnight Fucking Metal, which changes every week. You never know what
you never know what you're gonna get.
But you know what we do get? A great audience.
True.
And I want to thank you all. I want to thank you all for supporting the channel via super chats and tips. If you want to write us letters, we will read them. You
Dude,
can
that
send
would be
them to
awesome.
me. I know. Send them to me at our website at the Burnettwork.net. Go to that website. It's very interactive. Send us a letter. We will read it.
Letters, actual metal band recommendations that I can listen to. I'll listen to the shit. If Rob doesn't get around to it, I'll listen to it. I would love it. Love it.
I'll send you some links.
Awesome.
Yes. And please watch Midnight's Edge. And I love Midnight's Edge. I have for years. And I want to thank, by the way, my moderating staff, Mike Bodden, the Richard, who is here. I think he's the only one who's here tonight because, by God, why would anyone else be here this late? Thank you, the Richard, for being here. Darren Seeley is here. My God, Darren, you are an amazing wrench. And
Rob, I have an idea. Sorry, but I have an idea. Okay. Since we've talked Midnight Metal, I think we should do a live stream Twitch thing, talk or whatever over a midnight movie sometime.
Oh, we will do that.
I'd be down for that and learn from what that is in America. So I'd be very down for that.
I think we should do a midnight metal movies once a month.
Hang on, Dave. Talk for 5 seconds, would you?
You got it.
Let me go. Let me pee. I have to pee.
All right.
So you do that. This time, at least, he remembered to mute his microphone. So that's something.
Well, luckily he doesn't pee in where the Robservation studio is, so it's like we wouldn't hear anything. But I mean, would you guys be into that if we did? I don't know if we have to try to figure out how to do it on Twitch or something where we can all watch along together and do like a midnight movie, and we'll sit there and talk over it and stuff like that, and just have fun. Would people be into that? Or have you just hear us talk enough anyway?
I'm sure that they would, because we've done that over at Midnight's Edge on even on YouTube directly. We did that with our good friend filmmaker Tom Conkle. It was actually very popular because what we did was that we streamed it live. We didn't stream the movie itself. What we did was that we said, okay, we're going to press and play right now. Then it was coordinated, and then from time to time we would show on screen where we were, so everyone could see.
Oh, that's awesome! So which one did you do?
We did "Trouble Is My Business" by Tom Conkle, and he was there, so he was like talking us through the movie and everything. It was really cool.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
So yeah, I think people would absolutely be into that. And also,
and someone said Discord. Yeah, I'm on Discord. Yeah. We could do it on Discord as well. And we'll try to pick something that, one fits the mode, but also is like kind of easy for people to actually, find something that streams for free or something like that we could do. So,
yeah, indeed. And we've also done that on Discord. Well, not we per se, but Tom, my co-host, and myself, we've done a couple of such live shows with the people that does the 80s documentaries. So we did Dune, watch party with Dune with them. Also with the special guest Doug Bradley. So that was no, not Doug Bradley, Brad Dourif.
So that's really cool. I'm like either one's very impressive.
Yeah,
but at least one was in there. So I'm gonna midnight metal movies maybe once a month. If
I love that idea.
I think that would be so much fun to be able to sit and have everyone sort of join in and talk.
Join us. Like the Evil Dead says, Dave.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, there we go. Join us. There we go. Awesome. Well, now that Rob is relieved.
Thank God, man. I mean, it's funny. It's been only 3 hours and 40 minutes.
We've done good. We did good, sir.
I've also drank an entire bottle of Pellegrino, and how much Jameson, I don't know.
But enough where you're going to have peaceful slumber, just like everyone else.
I wish, but, I just want to point out that I'm Mid-May Massacre. I am doing a panel about Psycho Gorman tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
yeah.
Which is a great talk about a midnight movie. That movie is
that is a midnight movie.
Yes. I'm talking with the director, and by the way, Dieter Bastian. And I have to mention, we do Let's Get Physical Media tomorrow at 10 a.m., which is go. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Sorry to interrupt. Didn't mean to interrupt, but Dieter, when you're on that show, if you haven't talked about it, if you have, let me know which episode to watch, because I'll probably be asleep when you're doing it. That last screening horror giallo movie that you picked up, which is coming out here through Bloody Disgusting later in the year, but he picked up that crazy cool looking slasher movie in a movie theater thing. I want to talk about it. I want to know how it is.
Oh, well, we can do that.
So there you go.
I would ask you both. First of all, Andre, I mean, everyone knows this, but I'll please, if you guys don't, Andre, where can people find you on social media?
Yes, on social media, you can find me if you just see what my name is right there and you put an @ in front of it. That's where you'll find me on Twitter. I generally suck at Twitter because I don't much like social media. So there are more interesting people to follow there than me, I'm sure. But give me a follow anyway. And also you'll find me on YouTube on Midnight's Edge.
Okay, first of all, dude, you are goddamn interesting. Everybody should follow Andre. Find him, listen to him, know him. Just saying.
Dave. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Of course. Well, come on. Dave, where can people find you?
People can find me on they can find me on Instagram at Parker Vision, and they can also hear me on another podcast that I do called Night Marathon, which if you look it up on iTunes or any place you listen to podcasts, Night Marathon, and you'll find me on there. We just talked about the very wonderful, fine film Sleepaway Camp to Unhappy Campers on our latest episode.
I would also like to point out that if you're a fan of physical media, you can buy Dave's film that I helped produce. You can buy The Hills Run Red on Scream Factory. Put it out 2020 in June, and it might be the most self-indulgent but awesome special features ever produced for a horror film.
Yes, it's loaded. Even if you don't like the movie, you might like the features.
Yeah, 6.5 hours we did during COVID, and there's another there's another 2 hours and
it's
stuff.
amazing. It's packed. It's
packed.
You're gonna get your money's worth either way.
So
Thanks,
buy
Rob.
that film. Yeah. So and Dave directed that movie.
And Rob produced that movie.
But Dave also had a singular vision for Babyface, one of the most compelling and visually arresting serial killer monster. What do you call him, Dave?
He's a slasher.
A slasher. All right. A slasher that we've seen since we made the movie in 2008. No one has surpassed Babyface. Oh, wait.
And Richard is saying Tony is modding tonight also. So let's thank Tony for also modding.
Well, thank you. I did I not see that? I didn't. Thank you.
Not. He's letting us know.
Okay. Well, Tony, I didn't know you were here. Thank you very much. By the way, you can find me tomorrow on Let's Get Physical Media at 10 a.m. And I am also moderating a conversation at the Mid-May Massacre about Psycho Gorman. And that's at noon tomorrow. So join us.
Well, have fun with that.
Well, I want to say to you, gentlemen, you lovely, lovely, amazing men, thank you for doing Midnight Metal, episode 15. I can't even believe this show moved beyond its
exist.
drunken origins. But we have graphics and people, and wow, and Andre legitimizing this stream, and you too, Dave. It's been fantastic. So thank all of you for being here.
Thank you, guys. Have a great week. We'll see you next Saturday.
We will see you next Saturday. Well, I'll see you next Friday.
Yeah.
But
I'll see you next Saturday.
So thank you all for being here. My God, go to bed. It's 3. Like Ferris Bueller said, it's over. Why are you still here? Go home. Thank you all. And remember, every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear. And all you have to do is listen.
And it just might be metal.
And it might be fucking metal. And you might be able to tell that story on this channel live next week. All right, then.
All right.
Good night, everyone. Have a better day.
Be awesome.
Fuck yes.